Chapter 4294. Lin Xian sensed that there was still a force around him, which made him shocked. The others couldn't sense it, but Lin Xian's Tianji child prodigy could clearly sense that the danger was getting closer and closer. Lin Xian's face was pale. He said, "Not good. I think we should retreat first." Retreat? The people of Kunlun Pavilion were stunned. What was going on? Some of them had a look of disdain in their eyes. Was this the legendary Lin Wuyi? Why was he so timid? The saintess of Kunlun Pavilion was with such a person? Those who had such thoughts were all the young geniuses of Kunlun. After all, they also hoped to win the attention of Murong Qingqing. So at this moment, they all looked at Lin Xian with disdain. The experts of Kunlun Pavilion also frowned. A middle-aged man asked, "What did Lin Gongzi discover?" "There's a dangerous aura approaching. I think we should leave this place first." Dangerous aura? A few of them were stunned. There were even late-stage Saint Venerables among them. They carefully sensed and then said, "We didn't find anything." Murong Qingqing said, "We believe in Brother Xian. Let's leave this place first." All right, those experts nodded. Since even the saintess had said so, they would first retreat to a certain distance. Some of the young geniuses were very unhappy. I want to see if there's any danger. How could this kid continue to pretend? These people quickly retreated. It seemed like they wanted to leave the pagoda. This scene caused the surrounding people to be shocked. The people of Immemorial Grotto turned their heads and revealed a look of confusion. What was going on? One of them sneered. "They must be afraid of us attacking them. How could these trash be our match?" Their eyes were filled with disdain. However, at this moment, the void split open. An extremely terrifying aura surged out and rushed in all directions. Then, a terrifying black shadow appeared and slammed down. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The people of Immemorial Grotto and Thunder God City were directly sent flying. They vomited large mouthfuls of blood. What was going on? The surrounding people were so frightened that their scalps went numb. They felt the terrifying aura and their expressions became extremely ugly. In fact, they even saw two late-stage, wholly exalted experts being sent flying. The people of the Kunlun Pavilion were also stunned. Soon, they broke out in cold sweat. If they hadn't retreated back then, perhaps they would be the ones vomiting blood right now. When they thought of this, their faces were filled with shock. Those older generation figures took a deep breath and said, "Many thanks to Lin Gongzi for the reminder." The young sky prides of the Kunlun Pavilion also turned pale. Previously, they had mocked Lin Xian for being a coward. Who would have thought that Lin Xian had really detected the danger? But they didn't know anything. What right did they have to laugh at such a person? For a moment, those people put away their contempt. Lin Xian shook his head. His frown deepened. The reason for that was because the energy fluctuation coming from the front was simply too terrifying. Everyone looked up. In the next moment, they saw a bone claw appear in the void. It was a white bone claw that floated there. It was abnormally terrifying. However, there was only one palm and nothing else. This caused everyone to be stunned. Could a palm easily injure a late-stage, wholly exalted? Then whose palm was this? Was it left behind by a saint king? Everyone was bewildered. They carefully examined it and found that the palm's aura was very strong. However, the surface was already in tatters. It was clear that after countless years, it was no longer the same as it used to be. This made everyone heave a sigh of relief. If it was a complete palm, none of them would be able to block it. But now it was covered in cracks. They might be able to resist it. Damn it! The people of the Immemorial Grotto flew over from afar. Their expressions were ugly, and there was blood on their bodies. Among them, a few experts stared at the white bone palm. Their eyes shone with a piercing cold light. It's just a guardian palm. How dare it injure us? The experts of Thunder God City also flew over and gritted their teeth. If it wasn't for it being too sudden, how could they have been injured? These people's eyes were cold. Then someone said, "Let's go. Let's break this guardian palm together and enter the pagoda." It's actually a guardian palm? Shin Jingqiu was also shocked. Then she said, "Big brother Xian, I've heard some legends about this guardian palm. It's a treasure refined by a powerful existence after its death. It's used to protect. Guardian palms usually have a guardian light on them. If Fang Yu could absorb it, he would become even stronger. Although this guardian palm is already shattered, there should still be a guardian light on it. If you are able to do so, your 9-yang divine body and physique might be able to become stronger again." Hearing this, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Really? That's great. If that was the case, then he had to fight for it. Thinking of this, a piercing cold light appeared in his eyes. However, when he saw the countless experts around him, he said, "There's no rush. Let's wait and see." Indeed, there were many people here. Furthermore, those who could come were all peak experts. Many of them were late-stage experts and had many trump cards. These people quickly made their moves. Lei Shencheng and the people from the immemorial grotto quickly made their moves. Terrifying laws and mystiques surged forward. These people had joined forces at this moment. Clearly, they wanted to break through the protective palm and enter the pagoda. Buzz. The sound of the ground shaking could be heard. The guardian palm released light and swept out. The multicolored light on it was too terrifying. With one strike, it split the world. Boom, boom, boom. The guardian palm clashed with the surrounding magic skills and laws. Terrifying sounds of thunder rang out. Clumps of energy spread out in all directions. Many people retreated. Lin Xian looked forward. His eyes shone with incomparable light. He was prepared to make his move at any moment. This was because he knew that although the guardian palm was strong, it would not be able to last long under the attacks of so many experts. Indeed, the ones leading the charge were late-stage holy venerates. They had rich battle experience. Every time they attacked the shattered parts of the guardian palm. This caused the cracks on the guardian palm to become even more terrifying. However, these people were secretly on guard against each other. They were afraid of being sneak attacked. Thus, they did not use their full strength. Even so, it did not take long for the cracks on the guardian palm to become extremely terrifying. Then, with a kacha sound, a crack appeared. That palm was torn to pieces, about to shatter. Chapter 40-95. Seeing this scene, the late-stage Saint Venerables were the same. Their eyes shone with a cold light. They could naturally feel the extremely strong power in it. They had to get that power. At the same time, Lin Xian's eyes also shone with an incomparable light. He was also about to make a move to snatch the guardian light. Buzz. This time, he directly used the void escape to appear in front of Yi Fuqian in an instant. Then, he grabbed the guardian light with his palm. This sudden turn of events caused everyone to be stunned. No one dared to believe that someone dared to snatch food from the tiger's mouth in front of this group of experts. Was he tired of living? The eyes of the experts also shone with a cold light. Their gazes pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. "It's you. You reckless thing. We wanted to let you go, but you dared to snatch what we wanted." The eyes of the old man from the immemorial grotto burst with cold, killing intent. The faces of the others also sank. Facing so many threats and encirclement, Lin Xian was not afraid. Countless runes appeared on his palm to seal it. Soon, he completely grasped the guardian light. It was a ball of light that bloomed with a mysterious light. Lin Xian smirked as he sensed the power emanating from it. "Very well, I'll take it." With a flip of his hand, he put it away. "How dare you?" This action directly angered the surrounding people. Their eyes shone with a terrifying aura, and a monstrous power swept out. "What, you want to fight?" Lin Xian looked around and sneered. "The guardian light is not yours. I got it with my own ability. What are you unhappy about? Damn it, the people from the immemorial grotto were so angry that they vomited blood. They were the ones who shattered it, but the other party rushed up last. They wanted to kill him immediately. However, at this moment, the people from the Kunlun pavilion also walked over and stood behind Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "I'll take it. If you're unhappy, you can fight. I'll accompany you to the end." He exuded a powerful aura. What should they do? These people discussed. Naturally, it was to kill him. The people from the Taiga Grotto gritted their teeth. They definitely couldn't tolerate someone snatching their treasures from them. However, one of Lei Xin's experts frowned. This brat was extremely strange. He had many cards in his hands. They were really going to fight. We may not be able to kill him. And now he has the Kunlun pavilion behind him. Now was not the time to kill it. It was better to enter the pagoda first. Damn it. The people from the archaic grotto gritted their teeth. They could only say that they would let him live a little longer. The people from the primordial grotto waved their hands and charged towards the pagoda. The surrounding people were stunned. They couldn't believe that these sacred cities didn't make a move against Lin Xian. Were these people afraid of Lin Xian? When they thought of this possibility, their faces were filled with shock. However, they quickly regained their senses and rushed toward the pagoda. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He smiled, took out the light of protection, and began to absorb it. He could feel that his body had become stronger again. After a period of time, he said, "Let's go and see what treasures are in this pagoda. Maybe we can find a few more sacred king wills." The group of people flashed and rushed inside. Previously, the light of protection was still at the entrance, but now the bow of protection was gone, so they didn't encounter any obstruction. After entering, they realized that the first level was extremely vast. It was like a world of its own. It was much bigger than they had imagined. There were many passageways inside, and there were even various secret chambers arranged in various ways. It was dazzling. Some people rushed into the secret chamber at the side, but they soon rushed back. After searching more than 10 secret chambers in a row, these people came out and said angrily, "Damn it, there's nothing." They originally thought that there should be countless treasures inside, but now they didn't find anything. The people from the Kunlun pavilion also went to check, but their expressions weren't good. Lin Xian used the heavenly secret child prodigy. At the same time, someone said, "Could it be that they're all here?" Damn it, who did it? How could they be so fast? An elder of the Kunlun pavilion said, "The light of protection is still there. If it was there before, no one should have come in. Let's go. There's nothing on the first level. Let's go to the second level." Lin Xian looked around, then shook his head. The members of the Kunlun pavilion also held Lin Xian in high regard. Therefore, they all nodded in agreement to his words. "Let's go to the second level then." After the others searched around, they didn't find anything, so they went to the second level. However, there was nothing on the second level. Apart from that, the third and fourth levels were the same. Finally, they came to the fifth level. The expressions of these people were already extremely unsightly. Could it be that there's nothing in the pagoda? Damn it. Did the people from before come and take it away? Because they knew that as the third level of the Tao discussion, this wasn't the first time someone had entered the primordial battlefield. Before this, other people who had participated in the Tao discussion must have been here before. If they can't take it out, is there nothing here before? But it doesn't seem like it. There are no traces of anyone here. For a moment, everyone frowned. There was nothing on the fifth level too, so they were going crazy. Lin Xian's brows were tightly furrowed as he looked around. Suddenly, he looked at the wall. There were some marks there, which seemed to be traces of a fight. Lin Xian walked forward and looked carefully. "Let's go and take a look." The geniuses of the Kunlun pavilion knew how terrifying Lin Xian's technique was, so they quickly followed him. One of the geniuses looked forward carefully. There were some traces of a fight on the wall, and one of them was a blade mark. Although the mark was very faint, the genius was sent flying while coughing up blood. "What's going on?" The others were stunned, and they all used their laws to defend themselves. The people of the Kunlun Pavilion were also shocked, and they quickly helped the genius up. The experts of the Kunlun Pavilion asked, "What happened? Who attacked you?" That person said, "Blade Mark." There was a terrifying aura left on it. After saying that, his face turned even paler. "What? Blade Mark?" The surrounding people looked over, and Lin Xian was even more nervous. He was the closest, so he knew best. The genius from before stretched out his soul and shrouded the blade mark, wanting to examine it carefully. However, as soon as the soul approached, it exploded with an extremely powerful great Tao, injuring him. Chapter 4296. This great Tao was very terrifying. It had obviously surpassed the Holy Venerate and was left behind by the Holy King. It seemed that it was related to the Holy King's will. The others also looked over. When their souls approached, they felt an extremely strong power of the great path permeating the air. They didn't dare to act rashly. It was the Holy King's will. This mark was related to the Holy King's will. These people's eyes were all red. It seemed that it wasn't that there were no treasures here, but that there was a huge treasure. It was even possible that the Holy King's will was here. Thinking of this, the atmosphere in many holy cities began to change. Terrifying power flowed between heaven and earth. It seemed that a big battle was about to break out. At this moment, the people from Thunder God's city frowned. He said, "You don't want a shocking battle to happen, right? So I have a suggestion." "What suggestion do you have?" The people from returning Origin Palace asked coldly. A middle-aged man walked out from Thunder God City. His name was Lei Chensa. He was very strong. At this moment, he swept his gaze and said in a deep voice, "There are so many of us, and it's very likely that there's only one Holy King's will. So I think it's better to rely on our own opportunities. Every holy city will send people up to communicate with the Holy King's will. Whoever can get the approval will get this thing." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone started to discuss. Thunder God City actually made such a request. It seemed that there were many people from Thunder God City who came this time, no matter how strong their confidence was. Some people were also unwilling to rashly start a battle. After all, at their level, once a battle started, the consequences would be very tragic. "I agree." The people from Taiga Grotto stood up and nodded. They were also very confident about this. No one else objected. "Since that was the case, let's begin." As soon as he finished speaking, everyone took a deep breath. It seemed that everyone only had one chance, and no one dared to try it easily. After all, the domineering power that came from above made everyone's hair stand on end. No one dared to come? Then I'll do it. An expert from the Grand Valley Grotto walked out, attracting the attention of countless people. Everyone held their breaths. The middle-aged man's expression was also solemn. He extended his soul and surged forward. On the wall in front of him, other than a saber mark, there was also a mark and a terrifying fragment. This saint of Taiga Grotto knew how domineering the saber mark was. Therefore, he didn't dare to look at the saber mark. Instead, he enveloped the mark with his soul. His soul enveloped it, but he didn't feel any danger, which made him feel relieved. In the next moment, a smile appeared on his face as he walked forward. The others also held their breaths. Could it be that this guy was the first to try and obtain a great opportunity? However, Lin Xian's pupils shrank as he sneered. "Idiot." The people from the primordial grotto were proud. In their eyes, Lin Xian was jealous. However, in the next moment, they were dumbfounded. The imprint suddenly exploded like the shadow of a god, instantly piercing through the Saint Sovereign's body. With a bang, the Lord was sent flying, and a transparent mark appeared on his body. The sudden appearance of this scene really shocked everyone. What's going on? Was this mark also so terrifying? At this moment, everyone's faces turned ugly. Only Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Since you're trash, get out." He waved his sleeve, and a gust of wind blew that person away. Damn it. The faces of the people from the primordial grotto became extremely ugly. Was the other party provoking them? However, they didn't make a move. They all wanted to see what this kid had to be so arrogant. Was Lin Wudy going to make a move? Everyone became nervous. They didn't know if Lin Wudy could do it. How could this kid do it? Who did he think he was? Even so, he couldn't withstand such a violent power. Amidst everyone's discussion, Lin Xian walked over. In the next moment, a piercing light burst out from his eyes and surged forward. His target was also this mark. When his golden gaze landed on the mark, he didn't feel any threat. He knew that this mark was extremely terrifying. Sure enough, in the next moment, a terrifying aura came from the mark. The power was like 10,000 horses galloping, about to shatter heaven and earth. The void around Lin Xian kept shattering. The powerful aura pressed down on the surrounding people until they couldn't breathe. It was so terrifying. The surrounding people all raised their defenses to resist. Murong Qingqing and the others were also extremely nervous. Lin Xian, are you okay? Lin Xian felt a huge force enveloping him, as if his body was about to be torn apart. Block it. In the next moment, his black hair danced wildly, and the golden light on his body bloomed into the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Then he also punched out. This punch seemed to be able to topple mountains and overturn seas, covering the sky and earth as it charged forward. It collided fiercely with the mark, and it was as if thunder rang out. The terrifying power shattered the void. Lin Xian's face became incomparably pale. His body also began to tremble. Seeing the scene, everyone became nervous. The people from the primordial grotto and Thunder God City revealed a cold smile, just as they had thought. How could this brat possibly withstand it? However, soon their smiles froze, because they found that Lin Xian's body had stabilized again. The fist was like the sun, and it was even more dazzling. As for the power of the imprint, it was slowly disappearing. How could it be? This kid blocked it. Did he get recognition? A look of shock appeared in their eyes. In the next moment, they burst out with a fierce aura and then rushed forward. At the same time, Lin Xian's eyes were also flickering. To be honest, the moment he collided with the mark just now, he saw a shocking scene. It was an ancient battlefield. During the primordial age, there was a terrifying figure who was like a god. He struck out a mark, and that strike seemed to have fallen from the sky. The sky fell, and the earth cracked. It could overturn the sky. The mark finally blasted into the wall. In the blur, a voice could be heard. It was called the Seal of the Human Ruler. Lin Xian gasped. The Seal of the Human Ruler should be the name of the mark. It seemed that it was indeed left behind by a sage ruler. Buzz. Light flickered, and the mark flew over from the wall, blooming with incomparable light, and floated towards Lin Xian. Then it floated in the void. This scene caused countless people to exclaim. Could it be that this mark was also the will of a sage ruler? They felt that it was really too incredible. Lin Xian was also overjoyed. He didn't expect that he would obtain another will of a sage ruler. At the same time, he also obtained a unique skill, the Seal of the Human Ruler. Thinking of this, he stretched out his golden hand and grabbed in front of the control panel. However, in the next moment, an extremely terrifying killing intent came from behind him, as if it was going to pierce through him. Chapter 4297. Sensing the killing intent, Lin Xian frowned. The others, especially Murong Qingqing and the others, became extremely nervous because they realized that the people of Thunder God City from the primordial grotto had made their move. At this critical moment, Lin Xian fused with the mark. At the same time, he used his space magic and disappeared into the void. 2 terrifying attacks tore everything apart. However, they only hit an afterimage. Damn it, did that kid run away? Don't worry, his people are still here. They can't run far. The eyes of the people of Thunder God City flashed with lightning. The 2 of them looked in all directions. Sure enough, in the next moment, they saw Lin Xian appear in another space. Kid, hand over the thing, and I'll spare your life. The people of Primordial Grotto said in a cold voice. What if I don't hand it over? Lin Xian snorted. At this moment, his palm had already fused with the mark. He felt a terrifying aura flowing quickly. In his mind, he was also quickly accepting the inheritance of this divine ability. Not good, hurry up. He has completely fused with the thing. The people of Thunder God City saw this scene and roared in anger. Lei Qiance's body flickered, and he instantly charged forward. A terrifying force exploded like a sea of thunder and spread in all directions. The surrounding people's faces changed. Retreat quickly. They knew that a great battle was about to break out. The surrounding people were pushed far away. Fortunately, the space inside the pagoda was big enough. Even so, they still put up their defenses to resist. Lei Tiance turned into a bolt of lightning and charged directly at Lin Xian. In an instant, he appeared in front of Lin Xian. Then he threw a fierce punch. Buzz! Lin Xian waved his hand and boundless flames jumped, forming a huge flaming mountain in front of him. With a clang, the lightning fist collided with the flaming mountain, erupting with unparalleled power. The entire pagoda shook violently. However, the flaming mountain did not shatter. This kid's physique is too strong. Countless people sucked in a breath of cold air. Lei Qianze was a late-stage Saint Venerable, while Lin Xian was only a mid-stage Saint Venerable. There was a difference of one realm between them. Their physiques were actually on par with each other. It was truly unbelievable. Lin Xian's 9-yang divine body was originally very powerful. In addition, he had absorbed the protective light earlier, so he did not directly use his palm. Instead, he used the flames to form a huge mountain to block it. This meant that his physique had become even stronger than before. This guardian light is really a good item. It would be great if I could get more of it, Lin Xian thought to himself. On the other side, Lei Qiance's face turned extremely cold. Damn it, the other party was actually so strong. Is that all you've got? It's not that impressive. No wonder you couldn't obtain the Sage King's will. When he heard Lin Xian sneer, Lei Qianze was thoroughly enraged. He roared, and the laws on his body surged. Thunder Tyrant Fist. Terrifying bolts of lightning kept spinning before rapidly interweaving with one another. Next, countless bolts of lightning transformed into a massive fist. It contained a violent, destructive aura. Then it ruthlessly attacked Lin Xian. Many people cried out in surprise. This was a very domineering fist technique. When a late-stage Saint Venerable used it, it was definitely terrifying. Most people of the same level would not dare to take it head-on. Murong Qingqing and the others looked very serious and nervous. On the other side, the ancient grotto revealed a cold smile. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He could naturally feel the terrifying power of this fist. In the next moment, he even raised his hand and formed a seal. Then he pressed it forward. This palm seemed ordinary. It did not seem to contain any power. It was very light. Countless people were shocked. This kid had already given up on resisting. However, in the next moment, the seal changed. The seal emitted an extremely terrifying aura. It contained a violent power as if it was the ruler of the world. Then it fiercely slammed forward. When the surrounding people felt the change in the aura, their faces all changed. How was this possible? Everyone was going crazy. How did the other party know such a powerful martial art? Lei Qiance's face changed. Damn it. He realized that he had felt this power before. It came from the palm shadow. Now that the other party could use it, what did it mean? Did the other party completely get it? As he was immersed in astonishment, the seal descended and penetrated the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Then it collided with the Thunder Tyrant Fist. Boom! The two forces collided and the great path of the world exploded. Everyone felt their hearts tremble. Some people could not help but one kneel down. Crack! In the terrifying scene, Cracks appeared on the Thunder Tyrant fist. Then the Thunder Law runes shattered. Lei Qiansa was also sent flying. He kept roaring and spitting out blood. His face became very ugly. The surrounding people were all stunned. Their eyes were wide open. They could not believe it. Was the thunderous tyrant fist broken? That was an extremely domineering fist technique. What exactly was the seal that the other party used? Why did it feel even more terrifying? The people from the primordial grotto frowned. Damn it. What was going on? Did the kid get the inheritance? Lei Qiansa also roared crazily. You can use that seal. You got it. That's right. What else do you want to ask? I'll tell you everything. When you know everything, I'll send you on your way. Lin Xian's cold voice rang out. A cold, murderous intent appeared in his eyes. The surrounding people felt their scalps go numb. Was this kid going to kill him? Lei Qiansa was also shocked, but soon his face turned cold. So what if he got it? I can capture you and take your soul. I can get it all the same. Kill. With a roar, his black hair fluttered. Lightning surrounded his body as he attacked again. This punch swept across the sky. It was very terrifying. It pressed forward with indomitable will. He was completely enraged. He even used the secret technique of Thunder God City. Lin Xian sneered. He activated his power and used the human ruler's seal again. He was like a divine king that looked down on the 9 heavens. When the terrifying hand fell, it could overturn the sky. Boom! Another shocking blow. The void shattered and the galaxy turned upside down. There was not a single space that was intact. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, the lightning fist was shattered again. Blood rained down from the sky. Lei Qiansa's hair was disheveled as he vomited blood and was sent flying. His arm was also deformed. There were cracks all over it. The crowd did not expect that it was the same imprint that had injured Lei Qiansa. What kind of power was that? Lin Xian snorted. Lightning appeared under his feet. He was extremely fast and appeared in front of the other party. It was the human ruler's seal again. It was like a golden sky that fell down. Boom! This attack directly sent the other party flying. The other party's body was shattered into pieces. It made everyone's scalp go numb. At this moment, Lei Qiansa roared and spat out a thunder drum. The thunder drum shook. Endless lightning exploded and shot up to the 9 heavens. In the end, it turned into a thunder god that charged over. Lin Xian did not care. The human ruler's seal fell. At the same time, the 10 ultimate sword formation flew out. The thunder god's phantom trembled. Chapter 42:98. Boom! The terrifying man-ruler seal continued to descend. It was as if it could topple mountains and overturn seas, causing the sky to crumble and the earth to crack. Lei Qiansa's attack couldn't be blocked at all, unless he took out a true Saint Ruler weapon. But he didn't have one, so his body was torn apart again. Primordial Grotto, are you still not going to attack? He roared crazily. The people from the Primordial Grotto were also very serious. One of them snorted and attacked. It was the old man from the Primordial Grotto. He immediately attacked with terrifying laws. Like countless lightning bolts, he charged at Lin Xian. Each attack could kill a holy venerate. Such an attack was really terrifying. Buzz! Lin Xian waved his hands and formed a taiji diagram. It kept spinning and blocked all the laws. At the same time, the taiji diagram exploded again. It turned into a terrifying taiji sword light that kept flashing. He also used the 10 ultimate sword formation, which swept out in all directions. At this moment, Lei Qiansa found an opportunity. He roared and his broken body recovered. He also charged over. 2 late-stage Saint Sovereigns working together to fight Lin Xian. Countless people were shocked. No matter how powerful someone was, they wouldn't be able to block it. Xin Jingqiu and the others' expressions changed. They wanted to charge over, but Lin Xian transmitted his voice to them. No need, I can handle it. He roared and demonic chi filled the sky. He took out the great destruction and swept it. It turned into a black, demonic dragon and flew out. As if it was splitting the sky and earth, a terrifying power blasted forward. The two were sent flying and vomited blood. Their faces were filled with shock. The surrounding people were also stunned. Lin Xian had sent two late-stage Saint Sovereigns, flying with one move. That was too heaven-defying. However, the others felt their scalps go numb. That aura was a Saint Ruler weapon. He actually had a Saint Ruler weapon. That was unbelievable. As expected, Lei Qiansa and the old man from the primordial grotto had ugly expressions. They originally thought that the two of them could easily kill their opponent. They didn't expect their opponent to have such a trump card. Kill! The two of them roared and unleashed their strongest power. If he could kill the other party, not only would he be able to obtain the human ruler's imprint, but he would also be able to obtain a Saint Ruler's weapon. However, not long after, they broke down and quickly fled. The reason for that was because they discovered that they were simply unable to withstand it. The cooperation between the other party and the Saint King's weapon was too strong. Countless cracks appeared on the bodies of the two of them. If the two of them were not powerful late-stage holy venerables, they would have been killed long ago. Buzz! Another attack pierced through Lei Qiansa's body. His body exploded once again, turning into a bloody mist. Too powerful. The people around were shocked when they heard the cries. Before such power, even a late-stage holy venerate was nothing. Lin Xian had the complete upper hand in a 1-on-2 fight, beating the two powerhouses to the point that they kept running away. However, this place was completely sealed by the 10 ultimate sword formation. For a moment, the two of them were unable to escape. The others were shocked. Even the Kunlun Pavilion was dumbfounded. At this moment of crisis, two figures appeared outside the Universal Tower. The moment the two of them appeared, they froze the Universal Tower. The next moment, they sped up and instantly entered the Universal Tower. Then, two terrifying powers erupted. Everything was destroyed. Many people were sent flying. Lin Xian was also pushed back. The sword aura in front of him continued to shatter. Even the mountain that he had created was also cracked. In the end, he used the Great Destruction Spear to block the terrifying attacks. Then his face turned completely gloomy. The others also exclaimed. A top expert had come. Moreover, he had brought a Saint King's weapon. The next moment, everyone looked up. Two figures appeared in the void in front of him. When the two figures appeared, many people gasped. The elder from the ancient grotto heaved a sigh of relief. He said, "Elder, you came at the right time. Quickly kill that brat. He has a Saint King's banner." The elder who had just arrived had an abnormally terrifying aura. Beside him was a man in purple. After the purple-clothed man stared at Lin Xian, an extremely terrifying killing intent erupted. "Lin Xian, it's actually you." "Great. Today is the day of your death," he shouted coldly, and a yellow springs diagram appeared on his body. It kept bobbing up and down, and a terrifying cold aura flowed down. A Saint King's weapon. Everyone was terrified. They didn't expect the other party to bring a Saint King's weapon. "What? Do you think you can contend against me just because you have a Saint King's weapon? How laughable." Lin Xian snorted. He also had the Great Destruction Spear in his hand. "Is that so? Then what about this?" The elder from the ancient grotto took a step forward. Immediately, an extremely terrifying aura erupted from his body. A small tower appeared in his hand. It was incomparably terrifying, as if it was made of strange stones. It was abnormally terrifying. Stone tower. It was also a Saint King's weapon. The moment the two Saint King's weapons appeared, they swept in all directions and suppressed the monstrous demonic aura. At this moment, everyone's expressions changed. They knew that Lin Xian was dead for sure. Under such an attack, the other party would definitely not be able to survive. The expressions of the people from the Kunlun pavilion also changed. Morong Chingcheng walked out. In her hand, there was a cyan phantom that kept spinning. It emitted a terrifying aura. "Do you think we don't have any trump cards on our side?" Morong Chingcheng threw out the green phantom. It was a huge mountain that floated between heaven and earth, carrying a primordial aura. The surrounding people exclaimed again, "Kunlun Mountain." This was also a Saint King's weapon. The 4 Saint King's weapons collided between heaven and earth. Everyone retreated. At this moment, no one dared to stay here. Only 4 figures confronted each other. "Senior, go and stop the people from the Kunlun pavilion. I want to kill this kid with my own hands." Ming said coldly. The elder from the ancient grotto brought the stone tower to fight against the Kunlun mountain. On the other side, Ming directly charged over. The yellow springs gourd in his hand kept falling. The endless yellow springs, water rose and fell. Heaven and earth rumbled. Everyone was shocked. It was too powerful. Once a Saint King's weapon was used, even a late-stage Saint Venerable could not resist. Unless they also had a Saint King's weapon in their hands, they could not resist. Lin Xian also roared and waved the great destruction spear. The battle between the two shook heaven and earth. This was a world-shaking battle. Both sides were evenly matched. No one could do anything to the other. However, at that moment, Lei Qiansa and the old man from the immemorial grotto rushed over again. They wanted to sneak attack Lin Xian. They did not know what was good for them. Lin Xian waved the 10 fatalities sword and slashed out, creating a large crack. It blocked the attacks of the two. At the same time, the great destruction spear shot out a demonic light and instantly sent the two flying. However, in the next moment, his pupils shrank. A killing sword directly slashed his body and sent him flying. Chapter 40, 299. This sword strike was extremely terrifying, causing cracks to appear on Lin Xian's body. He retreated, his face pale, and an extremely cold killing intent burst out from his eyes. The surrounding people also exclaimed in surprise. Lin Xian was actually injured. Who did it? It was too unbelievable. They all turned their heads to look, but in the next moment, they actually did not see who it was. Lin Xian frowned. It was a saint slayer, and an extremely powerful one at that. Could it be that the people from the mortal world had come again? A golden light burst out from his eyes, and it was rarely seen in all directions. In the next moment, he felt an extremely terrifying aura surging towards him. In an instant, it appeared behind him again. "Get lost!" Lin Xian roared angrily. He waved the great destruction and shot out a destructive light, charging towards the back. However, that person dodged. At the same time, Ming in front of him waved the underworld gourd and charged over. "Kid, go to hell!" There was a top-notch expert in front of him with a Saint King weapon, and there was a terrifying killer in the dark. It could be said that Lin Xian's situation was extremely dangerous. It seemed that the people from the mortal world had actually come in, and it had something to do with these sacred cities. On the other side, Xin Jingqiu magically changed. She wanted to soar into the sky and help. However, a terrifying Saint King pressure came down, causing her to be unable to move forward. There's no need," Lin Xian said. He was afraid that Shen Jingqiu would be in danger. When Murong Qingqing saw this scene, he also wanted to make a move. At this moment, the old man from the primordial grotto, he sneered, "Me, I won't let you make a move." The stone pagoda in his hand emitted an extremely terrifying aura, suppressing heaven and earth. Murong Qingqing's face was cold. He could only activate Kunlun Mountain to contend with it. "Kid, I'll see how you die this time." The people from the underworld hall and the primordial grotto sneered. They felt that Lin Xian was dead for sure. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Dead for sure? What kind of joke was this? With his strength and trump cards, no matter how strong these people were, they would not be able to hurt him. He was able to survive even under the sage Wang Shozhong, let alone now. Thinking of this, an extremely sharp light burst out from his eyes. In the next moment, he swung the great destruction again and charged over. Boom! Boom! There was another shocking collision. Zi Ming's arm was numb from the impact. Although he also had a Saint King's weapon, he discovered that he could not suppress his opponent. The more he stood, the more arrogant he became. He was like a peerless divine king. At this moment, another terrifying killing intent appeared behind Lin Xian's back. The killing sword appeared once again. Lin Xian sneered. I was waiting for you. An illusion of the great sage pagoda appeared around him, blocking the sword. At the same time, he executed stellar transposition, and a terrifying sword light slashed out. With a poochie sound, fresh blood flowed down from the void. Someone groaned in the darkness and then quickly fled. You want to leave? Lin Xian coldly snorted and was about to brandish the great destruction spear. Seeing this, the people of Acheron Hall frantically used the Acheron gourd and the Acheron Dao diagram to suppress the great destruction spear. He wanted to give his opponent a chance to escape. Lin Xian, indeed, unleashed a dragon-shaped sword chi that split everything in half. Boom! 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 The void was torn in half, and a figure fell out. That person was also split in half. His scalp was numb, and he wanted to escape. However, he was instantly enveloped by the 10 ultimate sword formation. Humph! Lin Xian coldly snorted and unleashed the power of the great dragon's sword soul. It exploded and destroyed his opponent's soul. Damn it! Zi Ming's expression was ugly. He did not expect that his opponent could still kill this Saint Killer after he had restrained the opponent's Saint King's weapon. Lin Xian turned around. Like a golden god of war, he held the great destruction spear in one hand and the 10 ultimate swords in the other as he attacked crazily. Boom! Boom! Zi Ming was beaten until he trembled and kept retreating. His face was full of shock. Without the Saint artifact, he was afraid that he could not block his opponent's attack. Buzz! Suddenly, Lin Xian used his eye technique and attacked Zi Ming. Zi Ming was stunned. Lin Xian waved the great destruction spear and directly pierced through the expert from Thunder God City. His astral soul was also destroyed. In the blink of an eye, another late stage Saint Venerable died. Damn it! Zi Ming roared. His body emitted the power of laws. He held the underworld gourd with both hands and unleashed a shocking attack. Underworld destruction. This attack seemed to be able to destroy everything. However, Lin Xian used the great destruction spear and formed a black storm to block this attack. At the same time, he waved the man-ruler seal and slammed his palm over. With a crack, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Zi Ming spat out blood and flew backward. His body was directly shattered. The surrounding people felt their scalps go numb. It was too strong. Zi Ming had a Saint King's weapon, but he still could not block it? Damn it! Zi Ming retreated crazily. Lin Xian charged forward. At the same time, the old man from the ancient grotto made his move. He waved the stone pagoda and charged over. With one attack, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Lin Xian once again charged over with supreme demonic qi. The two sides exchanged battlefields. This time, Murong Qingqing also took the initiative to attack Zi Ming. The two battlefields erupted. Everyone left the 5th floor because they did not dare to stay any longer. Zi Ming had been injured previously. Now that he was facing Murong Qingqing, he was also suppressed. On the other side, the elder from the ancient grotto had an incomparably cold gaze. Kid, I have to say that you exceeded my expectations. No wonder the underworld hall was defeated so miserably. His eyes emitted a cold light. Lin Xian snorted coldly. So what if they were from the ancient grotto? Although your background is extraordinary, can you be stronger than the nest of 10,000 dragons? I'm not even afraid of the nest of 10,000 dragons. Why would I be afraid of you? Lin Xian's eyes were filled with arrogance. The elder from the ancient grotto's pupils constricted. A hint of shock appeared in his eyes. You even know about the nest of 10,000 dragons. It seems that you are not from the second astral realm. Could it be that you left from this world? Thinking of this, he became incomparably cold. To be honest, he did not know Lin Xian's identity before because he only woke up many years after Lin Xian left the true spirit world. When he woke up, the entire world had changed greatly. Those geniuses from before had already been forgotten by people. Therefore, it was normal that he had not heard of Lin Xian. However, judging from these few words, he knew that Lin Xian should be from this world. It seems that your identity is not ordinary, but so what? If I attack, you have no chance of winning. This elder's eyes were filled with infinite confidence. His strength was even stronger than Ziming's. Therefore, when he used a Saint King weapon, the power would be even more terrifying than before. It would be as easy as flipping his hand if he wanted to kill the other party. Buzz! Suddenly, a trace of a biting cold light bloomed in the elder's eyes. The void around Lin Xian broke open. For large stone hands grabbed at him. Like the hands of a god, they instantly enveloped Lin Xian. The sudden attack carried an extremely powerful force. Lin Xian seemed to have known it long ago. A golden light flickered in his eyes. Then the sword shadow slashed out in all directions like a divine sword. Chapter 40, 300. After the attack, a shocking power erupted. Then, Lin Xian's figure disappeared into thin air. When he reappeared, he was behind the old man. The great spear of destruction slashed down like a sharp sword. Buzz! The old man's expression changed. He was courting death. He did not expect that his opponent would be able to block his attack so quickly and even counterattack. This caused him to feel furious. He turned around and slapped out. In his palm, the stone pagoda floated up and down. The runes that bloomed were too terrifying. The two saint artifacts collided, shattering everything. The entire Qiankuan Tower shook violently. The Qiankuan Tower was extremely mysterious. Even in the face of a Saint King's weapon, it was not damaged. He wondered what level it had reached. However, no matter how good the pagoda was, no one could take the Qiankuan Tower. It could only stand between heaven and earth. When the two saint artifacts collided, the old man also emitted a terrifying aura. He opened his palm and slapped out. Countless Dao runes appeared on his arm. The power of his entire arm increased exponentially. Lin Xian was still fearless. He slapped out the man-ruler seal to fight back. When the two collided, Lin Xian was pushed back. The old man sneered. So what if he had a saint artifact? He was still pushed back by him. However, in the next moment, his expression changed. Damn it! His body trembled. A terrifying aura appeared in his eyes to suppress the death energy in his body. At the moment of the collision, a wave of death energy surged into his body. He floated the stone pagoda above his head. Thousands of laws poured into his body to suppress it. On the other side, Lin Xian walked out of the shattered void. He spat out a mouthful of blood, but he sneered. If you want to hurt me, you'll have to pay the price. In the collision just now, it seemed like he was injured and spat out blood. However, he knew that his opponent was more seriously injured than him, because his opponent had hidden injuries. If he didn't control it well, it would immediately explode. While his opponent was suppressing the death energy, Lin Xian attacked again. He held the Great Destruction spear with both hands and swept it in all directions. Boom! Boom! The battle between the two was even more terrifying than before. From time to time, Lin Xian would release the law of death, or he would release a dragon-shaped sword chi that would fly into his opponent's body to destroy it. The other party could still suppress the law of death, but this inextinguishable sword was simply too horrifying. It was impossible for him to destroy it in a short period of time. After a few times, the old man suffered internal injuries. His face turned ice cold. Damn kid, just you wait. He did not attack again. Instead, he quickly retreated. Everyone was stunned. What was going on? Was the battle over? The archaic grotto's people actually retreated. It was too unbelievable. This meant that the people from Archean Grotto were at a disadvantage in this battle. Abominable. Zi Ming from the Yellow Spring Hall also retreated, his expression ugly. He hadn't expected that even with 2 Saint King weapons, they still wouldn't be able to do anything to their opponent. Let's go and search for the Saints' wills elsewhere. These people gritted their teeth and prepared to leave. Buzz. At this moment, Lin Xian suddenly made his move. The Great Destruction spear pierced through everything and attacked his opponent. He was not attacking Elder Yuan but another old man. The old man's forehead was pierced and his soul was destroyed. Even in death, he did not believe that the other party would not let him go. That person was the one who had attacked him together with Lei Qianzi earlier. He would not let that person leave. Abominable. Just you wait. The people from Archean Grotto were so angry that they were about to cry. However, they did not attack again. Instead, they quickly left. Are you all right? The people from the Kunlun Pavilion rushed over, their faces full of concern. Morong Qingqing shook his head. On the other side, Shen Jingqiu and Ziming also came to Lin Xian's side and asked with concern. Lin Xian was also fine. He was a little injured, but it was not a big deal. Thus, he immediately sat down cross-legged and began to recover. Morong Qingqing also recovered. The Kunlun Pavilion's protectors and the others did not dare to approach. Before long, Lin Xian opened his eyes. He said, I want to meditate for a while. Thus, I can't leave for now. Qingqing, take Chiu, and go find the Saint King's wills. Okay, then, Brother Xian, let some people protect you. Morong Qingqing arrived. Lin Xian shook his head. Don't worry. I have ways to protect myself. However, take good care of Chiu. Shen Jingqiu followed Morong Qingqing and the people from the Kunlun Pavilion and left. Lin Xian stayed behind. Yu Shijie also did not leave. She stayed by Lin Xian's side. She asked, Do you want to cultivate the Saint King's wills? Lin Xian said, That's right. This is very important to me, so I plan to refine it. Yu Shijie also hesitated. He also had a Saint King's wills. Moreover, it was a water-type Saint King's wills. It was very suitable for him. However, if he cultivated the Saint King's wills, it would disappear. At that time, he would not be able to find anything else and would not be able to go to the buried Emperor Star. If he kept it, he would not be able to increase his strength in a short period of time. After thinking about it, Yu Shijie gritted her teeth and decided to refine it. He would first absorb the energy and think about the future. Thus, he also prepared to refine the Saint King's wills. Lin Xian brought him to the Great Sage Tower. The two of them began to cultivate. There was no need to worry about any sneak attacks here. On the other side, the others also left the Universal Tower because they would discover that there was nothing left here. Morong Qingqing and the others also left. However, Shen Jingqiu said, Sister Miss Seductress, I plan to search for it by myself. No, that's too dangerous. Morong Qingqing shook his head. I promised Big Brother Xian that I would take good care of you. Don't worry. I have ways to protect myself. Shen Jingqiu smiled. Then, she waved her hand and left. Morong Qingqing still wanted to say something, but he sighed and did not stop her. An elder beside him asked, Let her leave by herself? Why don't we send a few experts to protect her in secret? Morong Qingqing shook his head. He said, Forget it. Chiu definitely has a trump card. I believe in her. Let's search for the Saint King's wills first. The people from the Kunlun Pavilion also left. On the other side, Shen Jingqiu went on alone. Then, a mysterious rune flickered in her eyes. In the next moment, she said in a low voice, Is there really a Saint King's wills in that place you mentioned? At this moment, a woman's voice sounded in her mind. Of course there is, and there is more than one. I hope you are not lying to me. Xin Jingqiu increased her speed and disappeared. In the primordial battlefield, there were endless battles. There was even a heaven and earth phenomenon. Clearly, the people who came in had discovered the Saint King's wills. Fu Hongye obtained a Saint King's wills, and many people chased after him. In the end, he merged with the Saint King's wills, and his strength increased greatly. The same thing happened in other places as well. Everyone discovered that not only could the Saint King's wills be used to exchange for the qualifications to enter the buried Emperor Star, but it could also be absorbed to increase one's strength. This way, the situation changed. Previously, everyone wanted to obtain a Saint King's wills, but now one was probably not enough. They wanted to obtain as much as possible to strengthen themselves. Chapter 4301. Inside the Great Sage Pagoda, Lin Xian opened his eyes. A supreme Tao appeared in his eyes. It quickly disappeared. At this moment, the aura on his body became even more terrifying. Although his cultivation did not increase after cultivating the human ruler seal, he had a domineering aura that looked down on the world. It was too powerful. Was this the will of a sage king? Lin Xian was shocked. He turned to look at Yu Shirjie in the distance. Yu Shirjie was also shocked by Lin Xian's aura, so she also opened her eyes. There was also a deep power emerging from her body. Lin Xian knew that this was the power of water. How did it feel? Did you get any ultimate techniques? Yu Shirjie nodded and stood up. She walked over. She said that she had obtained a divine power called the Aquarius Purifying Bottle. Obviously, she had also gained a lot. It seemed that the Sage Kings will not only contain the Tao of heaven and earth, but also the ultimate techniques of the Sage King when he was alive. He wondered who the human ruler was. Just as he was thinking, an earth-shattering tremor came from outside. Then a terrifying aura spread out. Even Lin Xian felt it from inside the Great Sage Pagoda. It was so scary. What was it? Beside him, Yu Shirjie was also shocked. She also frowned. Lin Xian put away the Great Sage Pagoda. The two appeared on the 5th level. Then they left the Universe Pagoda. They looked into the distance. Countless large cracks appeared in the sky of the primordial battlefield, and an extremely terrifying force spread throughout the area. Everyone discovered that some illusions had appeared in the sky. There were terrifying stone tablets and mysterious palaces that formed one piece. What was this? Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He said that as the ancient battlefield, there must have been something incredible here. It seemed that this had appeared in the core of the ancient battlefield. Did someone activate some array mechanism? Or was the ancient battlefield about to completely open? He had some guesses in his heart, but he could not be sure. There was no need to think so much. Let's go and take a look. Lin Xian knew that although that place was dangerous, there might be more Sage King's will. Buzz! The two turned into streaks of light and flew into the distance. Meanwhile, the people around the primordial battlefield also looked up with shock in their eyes. Chao Tiansheng held a saint's will in his hand. His eyes swept across the void and looked into the distance. Is it open? Let's go. With a wave of his hand, he led the people of the Limitless sect and quickly set off. On the other side, Murong Qingqing had obtained the 2nd Sage King's will. Her beautiful eyes were filled with joy. At this time, she also looked up and saw the scene in the distance. Then, she also led the people from the Kunlun Pavilion over. There was a canyon in the primordial battlefield. It was said that countless experts had died there. It was a terrifying place. The primordial battlefield was an extremely dangerous place. However, within this gorge, a bright light shone out as a heaven and earth dharma form tore everything apart. Xin Jingqiu walked out with a pale face. However, she smiled. This time, although it was dangerous and she had been injured, she had obtained 3 Sage King wills. Then, she looked up into the distance. At this time, the mysterious woman's voice sounded again. Unexpectedly, that place had also opened. Let's go and take a look. There are incredible opportunities there too. Shin Jingqiu nodded. Then, her figure flashed, and she flew into the distance. At the same time, Linghu Chueshue Gufeng and the other experts of the sacred city all gathered in front. In the void, 10,000 rays of starlight fell. This was an expert of the 7-star tower who had reached the late stage, holy exalted level. His strength was also very terrifying. At this moment, his face was filled with excitement. This was because he had also obtained a Sage King's will. He was on his way back when the void suddenly broke open. A white bone hand instantly enveloped him. Damn it! The old man of the 7-star tower was also an expert. He roared and counterattacked. However, at this time, a broken sword pierced through his body from the ground. Bang! That old man felt his vitality slipping away. In the next moment, he was completely enveloped by the white bone hand. A skeleton walked out from the ground. It was the same in the sky. It was a broken human figure. There was no vitality in their bodies. There were runes flickering on their bodies. Clearly, they were being controlled by some mysterious power. This was not the first situation like this. There were a total of 3. 3 powerful late-stage, holy exalts were killed. The wills of the holy nets in their hands were also snatched away. In a remote area of the ancient battlefield, the earth split open. Several sage kings' wills floated in the void. The old man's lips curled up into a cold smile. Very good. Suddenly, heaven and earth trembled. A desolate aura appeared in the distance, causing the tombs of the experts in the surroundings to shake non-stop. Those skeletons were filled with fear. They no longer paid attention to the old man's control and directly drilled into the tombs. The old man guarding the tomb waved his hand and collected all the Sage King's wills. Then, his face became somewhat gloomy. Had that place opened? He had not expected that the people who had entered this time would be so extraordinary. Then he glanced at the small mound to the side and frowned slightly. He did not know if that fellow had gone there. If that fellow had gone there, it would be troublesome. It seemed that he would have to make a trip there. A mysterious light appeared in the eyes of the old man guarding the tomb. Lin Xian and Yu Shijie were flying rapidly in the air. Suddenly he frowned. Who was it? As soon as he finished speaking, he directly slapped out with his palm, shattering the void. The white bone long blade descended from the sky, and the Renwang seal collided with each other. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out. Yu Shijie also frowned. Was someone attacking them? Was it a top assassin? Lin Xian's face was also cold. However, when he saw the crack, he was stunned. It seemed that it was not a person of the human world, but some white bone creatures. Lin Xian directly took out the spear of great destruction and fought with it. That white bone creature was very powerful. However, under the great destruction, it could not resist at all and was directly shattered. It still wanted to escape, but in the end it was directly suppressed by Lin Xian using the Taiji diagram. Lin Xian used his divine ability to search and obtain some vague information. This person was here to snatch the Sage King's wills. This fellow was extremely powerful when he was alive. It was not possible to completely kill him now. Lin Xian directly cast a seal and completely sealed this fellow in the ground. Then he frowned slightly. The following scene would probably be even more complicated. Anyone could attack him, and the difficulty of him wanting to obtain more Sage King's wills would increase exponentially. He had to think of a way. Suddenly, he was stunned and thought of a person. Come out. A figure was directly pulled out by him. Chapter 4302. When she saw this figure, Yu Shijie was also stunned because she realized that it was 9 Qilins. 9 Qilins from before had their lives cut off by Lin Xian, but they hadn't died completely. Instead, they had been suppressed by Lin Xian. At this moment, he released 9 Qilins. After 9 Qilins came out, he gritted his teeth and said, "Damn brat, let me go. The demon city won't let you go." Lin Xian said coldly, "Is that so? I'll give you 2 chances now. Submit to me, and let me plant a restriction in your soul. That way you can live. Second, you can resist, but I'll destroy your soul." Beside him, Yu Shiche gasped. She knew that Lin Xian wanted to subdue 9 Qilins. However, 9 Qilins were different from her. If it were anyone else, Lin Xian would forcefully control their soul. But 9 Qilins was different. His bloodline was too strong. He must have some life-saving means left behind by an expert. If Lin Xian forcefully controlled 9 Qilins, he might activate these trump cards. Therefore, he had to make 9 Qilins willing. 9 Qilins gritted his teeth, unwilling to give up. However, when he thought of Lin Xian's methods, he knew that if he resisted, his soul would be destroyed. He could only say, "I can submit to you, but only for 100 years. After 100 years, I want you to let me go." "Okay." Lin Xian nodded. 9 Qilins gritted his teeth and said, "Swear on your future martial path." It seemed that he was still worried. Lin Xian sneered. "You want to negotiate with me? Do you think you're qualified? If you're not willing, I'll do it." He took out the Great Destruction Spear, and demonic qi exploded from his body. 9 Qilin's expression became even uglier. This was the aura of a Saint King's weapon. It seemed that the other party was much stronger than before. He didn't dare to resist anymore. He could only release his soul and let Lin Xian use his trump card. Lin Xian's spirit entered the other party's mind and heaved a sigh of relief. As expected, the other party had a life-saving method in his mind. He didn't move. Instead, he set up a soul imprint in another place. With the power of the heavenly secret God Eyes, even a Saint King would not be able to detect it. "All right," Lin Xian said, "follow me first. When I see the people from the Demon City, I will let you out." If he were to let the other party leave now, the 9 Qilins would not be able to survive in such a dangerous situation. Once again, the group of people set off. In the sky, figures appeared one after another. They stood there and looked at the scene in front of them with sparkling eyes. This was the core of the primordial battlefield. The aura emanating from this place was even more terrifying. A huge city appeared there. There were all kinds of pavilions in the city, and they were full of traces of time. Lin Xian and Yu Shiche were there as well. They looked ahead, their eyes flashing. "Let's go." Lin Xian waved his hand, and the 2 of them turned into streaks of light as they headed towards the huge city. At the same time, people turned into streaks of light in all directions. This city was very big, so it was impossible to investigate it completely in a short period of time. It was even possible that they might encounter each other. As these people entered, the huge city that had been asleep for countless years became lively again. However, not long after, a low sound came from inside. It sounded like a roar. Countless people were shocked. Could it be that there were still living existences in this city? If that was the case, how terrifying would it be? Boom! The ground cracked open, and black figures appeared one after another. These were all demonic beasts, and they were abnormally ferocious. However, no one knew what these things were. Lin Xian also frowned. It seemed that they could not search aimlessly. They had to quickly find the aura of the Saint King's will. Thinking of this, he opened his heavenly secret God Eyes. Then he sensed a mysterious aura in the distance. He prepared to go over and take a look. The 2 of them turned into streaks of light and flew through the city. Although it was called a huge city, it was really too vast. There were even mountains, trees, and canyons. Lin Xian and the others flew all the way. During this time, they even encountered some attacks. It seemed that there was more than one demonic beast inside. This huge city should have a special power that could allow demonic beasts to cultivate smoothly. Yu Shiche shot out 2 laws and sent 2 demonic beasts flying. She frowned slightly. If this continued, their speed would be very slow. Lin Xian also frowned. In the next moment, he directly used the Tiger Demon Fist, and a tiger's roar sounded. A terrifying aura erupted. This was the sound of the king of beasts. It directly shook the world, and some of the surrounding demonic beasts quickly retreated. Next, their speed was much faster. After flying for half a day, they found a terrifying scene in front of them. The trees and mountains in front of them suddenly became tall. Lin Xian even found that there were many ancient trees around them that reached the sky. It was as if there were many giant dragons that kept circling. It was terrifying. There should be a powerful life force in front of them. They passed through countless divine trees and vines. After flying quickly, they finally arrived in front of them. When the two of them landed on the ground, the quiet void became lively again. This is... Lin Xian's eyes lit up. Beside him, Yu Shirjie was completely stunned. Heavens! There were many spirit fruits around them. They were like stars swaying there. The number of them was shocking. Lin Xian was also surprised. In the next moment, a look of joy appeared on his face. With a wave of his hand, countless laws were sent out, enveloping this part of the world. Then he put away all of the spirit fruits. If the Crimson Dragon and Whitey were here, they would definitely go crazy when they saw the scene. Yu Shirjie also quickly made a move. She formed a seal with her palms. In her hand, the Law of Water formed a treasure that quickly collected the surrounding spirit fruits. After a while, someone nearby exclaimed, "Heavens, what is this? Look, there's so many spirit fruits here. They are all natural treasures. Hurry up and do it. Follow me." As soon as this voice was heard, it attracted the attention of the surrounding people. Countless powerful auras quickly gathered in this direction. When Lin Xian saw this scene, he also said, "Let's go." The two of them had already collected enough and did not want to be discovered. Moreover, Lin Xian felt that this place should not be just these spirit fruits. There should be other treasures. So the two of them quickly disappeared into the void. Not long after they left, dozens of figures appeared in the sky. They looked at the surrounding spirit fruits with red eyes. There were too many of them. If they could take all of them, it would be equivalent to many years of bitter cultivation. Thinking of this, these people began to attack. In an instant, all kinds of laws erupted between heaven and earth. Soon, a great battle broke out. It was very terrifying. After all, in front of such natural treasures, these people would not hold back. Chapter 4303. The battle in the surroundings was very terrifying. All kinds of laws filled the air, but Lin Xian had already left. He continued to walk forward. Soon he stopped again. He found that there was a towering tree in front of him. It was very huge. The aura emitted from it was very rich. Clearly, it contained supreme vitality. There were also some fruits on it. After Lin Xian saw it, his eyes lit up. He turned into a stream of light and instantly rushed over. During this process, the surrounding vines and tree trunks quickly flew over, forming layers of defenses to block him. Lin Xian's Man-Ruler seal slammed over. The Man-Ruler seal covered the sky and earth and could destroy everything. However, at this moment, it was blocked here. It was really strange. He stopped with a look of surprise on his face. It seemed that this thing was indeed not simple. Lin Xian took a deep breath and directly used the great dragon sword soul. The indestructible sword slashed out. Only then did it split open the void bit by bit and cut apart those vines. That's great. Seeing this scene, his face was filled with joy. Finally, he arrived in front of the towering tree like a hot knife through butter. Then he struck out a large golden hand and grabbed at the fruit in front of him. However, the fruit suddenly swayed and bloomed with incomparable light. A terrifying power spread out in all directions like a wave. At this moment, it caused a phenomenon of heaven and earth. Lin Xian was stunned. It was too late for him to stop it. This phenomenon would definitely be seen by the people fighting in the distance. At that time, there would be even more terrifying people flying over. Thinking of this, his face turned cold and he directly attacked. He grabbed at a fruit. The multicolored light on this fruit actually turned into a great Tao to block it. Lin Xian was greatly surprised. It seemed that these spirit fruits were indeed extraordinary. With a cold snort, he waved his hand. The large golden hand exerted force again, shattering those laws and then grabbing them in his hand. These spirit fruits were already tens of thousands of years old. If consumed, the effect would be very good. Therefore, Lin Xian did not stop. At the same time, he said to Yu Shirche beside him, "You should also make a move. How much you can take depends on your ability." Yu Shirche took a deep breath, and a light appeared in her eyes. She would not be polite either. The two of them quickly made their moves. The energy fluctuation from before was also spreading rapidly in all directions. Those who were fighting in the distance all raised their heads and looked into the distance when they sensed the energy fluctuation. What a terrifying aura! There seemed to be even more terrifying treasures of heaven and earth there. Go quickly! These people were no longer fighting. Instead, they were all flying into the distance. When they came close and saw the towering tree, they were all stunned. They were especially shocked when they saw the gigantic hand wrapped around some spirit fruits. These people's eyes instantly turned red. The power in his body continued to erupt. Lin Xian frowned. He didn't expect these people to arrive so quickly. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, but he didn't turn around. Instead, he stared ahead. At the top of the heavenly tree, there was a fruit. That fruit was enveloped by countless multicolored great Tao lights. Half of it was black, and the other half was white. It was extremely mysterious. Moreover, there was a terrifying black and white aura surrounding it, forming mysterious runes. Could this be formed by the power of yin and yang? Lin Xian was too shocked. This heavenly tree had a powerful vitality. However, it grew in the primordial battlefield, a place filled with the aura of death. That was why this yin-yang fruit was formed. Thinking of this, Lin Xian's eyes flashed with a piercing cold light. If he could obtain the nomological laws contained in this thing, then he could increase the power of the Taiji diagram. Lin Xian wasn't the only one who saw it. The few people who came saw it too. They looked at the black and white fruit above them with a piercing cold light in their eyes. It contains the yin and yang nomological laws. If we take it and consume it, we might be able to comprehend the laws. These people were really too surprised. The yin and yang nomological laws were extremely powerful origin source laws. Very few people could comprehend them. Once they succeeded, their strength would increase by leaps and bounds. Therefore, the aura on these people's bodies was abnormally cold. However, in the next moment, their pupils constricted. "Damn brat, how dare you!" They saw that the silhouette before them had extended an enormous golden hand and grabbed toward them. The few of them roared angrily and struck out terrifying heaven and earth nomological laws directly towards the huge golden hand. They suppressed the huge golden hand. Lin Xian's face darkened. He felt the power coming from his palm. He withdrew his palm, and his expression became incomparably cold. In the next moment, he turned his head and asked coldly, "You dare to attack me? So it's you, brat." Behind him, the expression of a powerhouse from the 1,000-demon city instantly darkened. He didn't expect Lin Xian to actually come here. Moreover, it seemed that he had come earlier than them. Then, how many of the surrounding spirit fruits had the other party collected? At this moment, a powerhouse from the Limitless sect also said coldly, "I won't make things difficult for you. Since you came so early, you must have already obtained enough spirit fruits. Now I'll give you a chance to leave. As for this yin-yang fruit, don't think about it anymore." The one who spoke was also an old man. His strength had reached the late-stage Holy Venerable realm, and the aura on his body was very terrifying. Although Lin Xian was a top genius, so what? Firstly, he was a late-stage powerhouse himself. Here, there were many experts by his side this time. If they attacked together, the other party would definitely not be able to withstand it. Yu Shirche was also extremely nervous. She came to Lin Xian's side and said in a low voice, Young master, what should we do? She saw that other than the people from the Demon City and the Limitless sect, the people from Thunder God City were also there. Furthermore, the people from Great Desolation Mansion, Myriad Sword Pavilion, and Deep Sea Palace seemed to be rushing over as well. It wouldn't be long before this place was surrounded. Lin Xian looked at the sages, then at the yin-yang fruit, and a golden light appeared in his eyes. The next moment he said, "All right, we'll do as you say. I'll leave, and you won't do anything to me." "That's right," the old man from the Limitless sect said with a smile. "I can guarantee that." To be honest, a trace of disdain surfaced in his heart. This Lin Wudi was not as arrogant as he had imagined. He knew when to advance and when to retreat. The people from the Thunder God City and the Thousand Demon City also sneered. To be honest, they didn't want to let that kid go. However, they also knew that it would not be easy to kill him. Moreover, people from other sacred cities could arrive at any time. If more people arrived, it would be difficult for them to obtain the yin-yang fruit. Therefore, they decided to snatch the treasure first, and then deal with this kid. Very good. Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile. Then he quickly retreated to the side. Yu Shixie followed suit. However, her face was filled with doubt. It shouldn't be. Based on her understanding of Lin Xian, this guy would not give up the treasure so easily, especially the fruit that contained the laws of yin and yang. It was very useful to him. Chapter 4304. Lin Xian glanced at Yu Shixie. He knew that she was confused, so he sent her a voice transmission. "Don't worry. That thing isn't so easy to obtain. Let's test its power first." Yu Shixie was stunned. She looked at the yin-yang fruit in the distance. Was that thing still dangerous? She really couldn't tell. The other late-stage, holy venerates also smiled when they saw Lin Xian leave. Among them, the Thunder God City's people turned into lightning and flew over. "Damn it! How dare you!" The Limitless sect's elder roared, wanting to stop him. However, the lightning was too fast. He was still a step too late. The middle-aged man from the Thunder God City came to the front. He looked at the yin-yang fruit in front of him, and a smile appeared on his face. "Everyone, I won't be polite then." After saying that, he charged at the yin-yang fruit. Behind him, the late-stage holy venerates roared. They unleashed terrifying divine abilities to stop him, but it was already too late. That was because the lightning palm had enveloped the yin-yang fruit. "Great, it's mine." The Thunder God expert's lips curled into a smile. However, in the next moment, his expression became incomparably ugly. He discovered that a black law had entered his body and instantly taken away his life force. As for his arm, it rapidly shriveled up. No, he frantically retreated. However, in an instant, he turned into white bones and no longer existed. The people behind him, who were still roaring furiously, were all stunned. Their faces were filled with horror. What was going on? A late-stage holy venerate had been killed just like that? They felt a wave of terror. Yu Shixie's pupils constricted. How could this be? Only Lin Xian's eyes flashed. It seemed that it was true. The yin-yang law was extremely terrifying. It wasn't something that just anyone could contend against. Seeing Lin Xian's calm expression, Yu Shixie sucked in a cold breath. It seemed that Lin Xian had already known. Furthermore, the experiment he had mentioned should be this matter, right? At this moment, the experts behind him also looked at Lin Xian. "Brat, you dare to set us up?" The 10,000 Fiend City expert clenched his teeth and roared. The Limitless sect's elder had an icy expression. Lin Xian said, "Why would he say that? It was you who wanted to drive me away and take the yin-yang fruit. From the beginning to the end, I didn't say anything. Now you're saying that I'm framing you. Don't you think it's a little ridiculous?" Damn it. The expert from the Demon City let out a furious roar as his body suddenly enlarged, as if he had transformed into a peerless beast. It seemed like he wanted to make a move. However, at this moment, an even more terrifying aura spread out from the surroundings. From the looks of it, The people in the distance had also rushed over. When they arrived, they also exclaimed in surprise. Was that the law of yin and yang? It seemed that this was a great opportunity. One of them was clad in green battle robes. He stood there like an ancient divine mountain, striking fear into the hearts of those who saw him. Shi Qingyu. Many people exclaimed as they looked at him. Clearly, this was an extremely terrifying figure. Lin Xian looked at the other party and frowned as well. His eyes flashed with a cold light. This person gave him a dangerous feeling. After Shi Qingyu arrived, he looked as if he was looking down on the world. His gaze swept across the surrounding people without stopping. When he saw Lin Xian, his gaze paused slightly. However, it only lingered for a moment before he stopped paying attention. It was obvious that the other party had recognized Lin Xian, but he didn't seem to be paying too much attention to him. More and more people rushed over. They looked at the yin-yang fruit in front of them with shock. Discussions broke out one after another. At the same time, they also realized that there were many experts around. Especially when they saw Shi Qingyu, they were all nervous. He was an extremely terrifying expert from the primordial grotto. At this moment, Shi Qingyu said indifferently, "I want the yin-yang spirit fruit in front of me. Do you have any objections?" Although his tone was asking, there was a domineering aura in his words. The surrounding people's pupils constricted when they heard this. Was this guy going to snatch it? However, they realized that no one dared to object directly, which was extremely shocking. At this moment, the sacred venerate from the 1,000 Demon City smiled and said, "We naturally don't have any objections." However, the first person to arrive here seemed to be Lin Xian. He seemed to be determined to obtain the yin-yang fruit. Many people's eyelids twitched when they heard this. He was obviously looking for someone from the primordial grotto to deal with Lin Xian. Sure enough, when Shi Qingyu heard this, he also turned his head and looked at Lin Xian before saying, "You must be Lin Xian, right? Would you dare take it if I gave it to you?" Lin Xian also smiled. Why wouldn't he dare? He had originally cultivated the Taiji art and had grasped two powerful nomological laws. This spiritual fruit would be of great help to his Taiji art. How could he give it up? When they heard this, the surrounding people were stunned. Heavens, this was indeed the case. They knew that Lin Xian wouldn't give up so easily. It seemed that this was indeed the case. Even though he was facing the extremely powerful Shi Qingyu, he was still calm and composed. He really didn't know what was good for him. The sacred venerate from the 1,000 Demon City sneered. He had already achieved his goal. Next, Shi Qingyu would definitely not let him off. Sure enough, Shi Qingyu's face also darkened when he heard this. No one had ever dared to be so arrogant in front of him, let alone a young man. Sure enough, he was even more arrogant than the rumors said. However, treasures were only suitable for powerhouses. Did he have the right to obtain them? Did he have the right? You'll know once you try. Lin Xian's eyes also burst with a piercing cold light. At the same time, an extremely terrifying power surged out of his body. On the other side, Shi Qingyu's power also erupted, causing the surrounding void to shatter continuously. The people around him quickly retreated, their faces full of shock. They knew that the two of them were about to exchange blows. Do you think this kid can withstand it? What kind of joke was this? How could he possibly contend against Shi Qingyu? That's right. I don't think he can even take one move. Many people around them sneered. The people from the immemorial grotto had special bloodlines. Their physiques were abnormally strong, and their power was even more shocking. Sure enough, Shi Qingyu raised his hand and slowly clenched it into a fist. Mysterious runes appeared on the fist, and a terrifying power emanated from it. Boom! Then he threw a punch forward. The surrounding void shattered continuously. It seemed like a casual punch. However, even a late-stage holy venerate would not be able to withstand it. What a strong power! The surrounding people exclaimed in surprise. The way they saw it Lin Xian was definitely going to die this time around. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. A piercing cold light burst out of his eyes. He was indeed very strong. No wonder his opponent had the right to be arrogant. However, so what? Lin Xian also extended his hand and continuously formed hand seals. The man ruler's seal was displayed by him. Like a supreme deity, it slammed forward fiercely. Chapter 43:05. Boom! The two attacks collided in the sky. It was as if hundreds of thousands of claps of thunder rang out in the sky. The entire world shook violently. Countless large cracks appeared in the sky. Violent winds and torrential rain swept across the land. The two black figures also retreated quickly. How was it? Everyone looked forward. They wanted to know if Lin Xian had blocked the attack. They guessed that he should have been beaten into a bloody mist. However, when they saw that Lin Xian had only retracted his palm and was still standing there, many people's eyes almost fell out of their sockets. God, he really blocked it. Between the heavens and the earth, terrifying energy constantly surged, and the surrounding people were all stunned. Their minds were a little blank. That was because they could not believe what they had just seen. They knew how powerful Shi Qingyu was. Although the attack just now was just a casual attack, the power it contained was not weak at all. Instead, it was extremely powerful. However, Lin Xian was able to block such a terrifying attack with ease. It seemed that he was not injured at all. That was really surprising. Just how strong had this brat become? The faces of the Demon City's experts also darkened. Damn it, this kid was really too terrifying. They felt that he was not weaker than them. Lin Xian looked in front of him. Shi Qingyu's face was a little pale. Then he smiled and said, "Your strength is only so. You were so arrogant before. I thought that a sage king had come. Now that I've seen it, it's really disappointing. With just this little bit of power, you want to suppress all the heroes. I'm afraid you won't be able to do so." The surrounding people were stunned. Was this guy challenging Shi Qingyu? Sure enough, Shi Qingyu's eyes also burst with a cold, murderous intent. Was he looking down on him? The aura on his body kept exploding. However, Lin Xian retracted his gaze. He did not care at all. Instead, he looked at the yin-yang fruit in the distance. It seemed that it was about time to make a move. Others were afraid of the power of yin-yang, but he was not. In the next moment, he formed a seal with his palm and directly shot out a taiji diagram. It flew towards the yin-yang fruit. This guy actually made a move? Countless exclamations were heard. Their eyes were red. Shi Qingyu roared, "How dare you!" The other party was too reckless. Did they really think that his strength was only that much? You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Today, I will let you know my true strength. As soon as he finished speaking, an extremely terrifying power erupted, causing the ground to shatter. Countless canyons appeared. Shi Qingyu stretched out a huge hand that covered the sky and charged towards the taiji diagram in front of him, wanting to grab it. However, at this moment, a sword qi slashed down from the sky like a bolt of lightning, blocking the huge hand that covered the sky. It was Lin Xian. Lin Xian had only used the taiji diagram to collect the yin and yang fruits, but he had blocked it. This was the green jade. What? Are you not convinced? Let's make it one stop then. Lin Xian's aura continued to erupt. He wasn't worried about the people around him at all, because the eruption of the laws of yin and yang in the distance was extremely terrifying. Even a late stage, holy venerate would not dare to get close. Once they did, their life force would be instantly snatched away. In such a situation, using the taiji diagram was the most suitable. No one can take away the treasures I want. You want to take the treasures from me? How laughable. At this moment, Shi Qingyu's expression became extremely cold. He was like an angry war god, his power and killing intent sweeping in all directions. Then he punched out again. This time, he must kill the other party. Do you really think that only your strength and physique are strong? Lin Xian also snorted coldly. his 9 yang divine body erupting continuously. Then, a golden palm of light slapped out. It was like a golden mountain, causing the entire world to dim. Even Shi Qingyu's pupils shrank. In the next moment, the two attacks collided again, and violent vibrations swept in all directions. Shi Qingyu felt a huge force coming from his arm, wanting to tear his body apart. This physique shocked him too much. He was from the immemorial grotto and had a strong bloodline. The immemorial grotto cultivated the Holy Spirit's blood, which was incomparable. However, he did not expect the other party's physique to be so strong as well. How could he have known that Lin Xian's 9-yang divine body was also one of the strongest physiques in the starry heavens? Furthermore, not long ago, Xiao Chen's 9-yang divine body had been tempered by the terrifying lightning sea and merged with the protective light. Now it was even more horrifying. Hence, even when facing Shi Qingyu's physique, Xiao Chen was not at a disadvantage. No wonder you dare to be arrogant before me. It looks like you also have a powerful body tempering technique. However, how can you compare to my Holy Spirit body? Today, I'll let you know what the gap is. After saying that, an extremely terrifying aura surged out of Shi Qingyu's body again. Then he formed hand seals. Together, they formed an extremely mysterious, illusory figure that charged straight for Lin Xian. Lin Xian did not dodge. He executed the man-ruler seal with his right hand and attacked continuously, like a heavenly king sweeping through the 9 heavens. As for his left hand, it turned into a golden sun that swept out in all directions. At this moment, the might of his divine body was completely unleashed. This attack was like 2 war gods clashing. The terrifying aura caused the scalps of the surrounding people to turn numb. This was especially so for the late stage Holy Venerates. They were all stunned. This Lin Xian's physique was actually not weaker than theirs. This brat was too strong. His strength was already equivalent to a late-stage Holy Venerate. If they did not have powerful means, it would be very difficult to suppress him. The surrounding experts of the holy cities found this inconceivable. This was especially so for the people of Thunder God City, Myriad Fiend City, and Myriad Sword Pavilion. This was because in the second stage, Xiao Chen was only a peak small saint. However, in the third stage, his strength soared, becoming a mid-stage Holy Venerate. One had to know that this was a cultivation realm that might not be reached even after several thousand years. Xiao Chen managed to accomplish this in such a short period of time. This was simply heaven-defying. There were also some people who had cold expressions. They shifted their gazes away from the battle and looked at the light in the distance. They wanted to snatch the yin-yang spirit fruit. After all, now was the best time. Indeed, a holy venerate from the great desolate mansion instantly charged out. He created a desolate valley, wanting to envelop the yin-yang spirit fruit. Taiji revolved, and a terrifying Taiji sword light burst out. The yin-yang spirit fruit also shot out. The laws of yin-yang were rarely seen in the 9 heavens. One of the man's arms withered in an instant, and he immediately fled. He felt that 1/3 of the vitality in his body had disappeared. This was too terrifying. This yin-yang spirit fruit was really too strong. Probably only a true Sage King weapon could subdue it. The others were also shocked. However, they could not do anything about it. Chapter 4306. They were extremely unwilling to give up. Because the aura on the Taiji diagram was very similar to the yin-yang fruit, it was not affected much. At this moment, it was fighting with the laws of yin and yang. It seemed that it would not be long before it completely enveloped them. When that time came, they would have no hope at all. Therefore, their eyes were red. They looked into the distance, hoping that Shi Qingyu could defeat Lin Xian. In this way, the Taiji diagram would not attack anymore. Shi Qingyu's face became extremely ugly. To be honest, he thought that he could kill Lin Xian with one move. He did not expect Lin Xian to block it. Now that he had used all his strength, He thought that he could destroy Lin Xian within 10 moves. However, he could not suppress Lin Xian after hundreds of moves, let alone kill him. Thinking of this, he roared, "Die!" With a roar, a terrifying, murderous aura erupted. Sacred, heavenly, divine palm. With a roar, a palm slapped out, carrying thousands of laws as if it was going to break through the sky. This terrifying power directly attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian felt the power of this palm and was shocked. He knew that this was a peerless divine skill because his divine body was shaking violently. It was as if it was going to shatter his body. Buzz! Lin Xian roared, and the dragon in his body roared. Then he formed the man-ruler seal with both hands and attacked together. It was as if the world was splitting apart. This power had actually become even stronger. Boom! 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 The man-ruler seal had the aura of the dragon, and it fell directly on the sacred heavenly divine palm. The two collided, and cracks appeared on the sacred heavenly divine palm as if it was about to shatter. Shi Qingyu was even more shocked. His face was full of shock and disbelief. How could Lin Xian be stronger than him? How could it be? He was one level higher than Lin Xian, and he had already used his ultimate skill. The surrounding people were stunned as well. Lin Xian's strength was truly shocking. His opponent's attack power was actually able to increase. At the same time, the Taiji diagram in the distance slowly descended, and it was very close to the yin-yang fruit. It would probably take less than half an hour to completely take away the yin-yang fruit. Naturally, Shi Qingyu also saw this scene, and his face was extremely cold. With a roar, he charged over again. Another world-shaking battle ensued. However, it didn't take long for Shi Qingyu to be sent flying backward. He even coughed up a mouthful of blood, and several cracks appeared on his body. "Damn it, you actually managed to injure me." Shi Qingyu's expression became incomparably ugly. After all, not many late-stage holy venerates could compete with Xiao Chen's physical body. But now, someone whose cultivation was lower than his had actually surpassed him in terms of physique and strength. In fact, he had even injured him. The people around him were also terrified. The saint venerable from the demon city felt his scalp go numb. If he was the one who attacked Lin Xian back then, what would have happened to him? The old man from the Limitless sect was also terrified. Previously, he had raised his cultivation and said that he would let the other party go. From the looks of it now, did the other party even need him to let him go? Lin Xian stood in the void. The more he fought, the braver he became. The golden flames on his body burned fiercely, and a powerful force was released. This caused the scalps of the surrounding people to go numb. At this moment, he attacked again. The man-ruler seal slammed over, and it carried a terrifying power of the law. This time, Lin Xian not only used the power of the divine body, but also the power of the law. The golden flames covered the sky, and it was as if thousands of suns had appeared at the same time. The pressure brought about by it made even Shi Qingyu's expression become incomparably ugly. For the first time he felt fear. However, he still roared and charged out, using the saint spirit bloodline to the extreme. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. In the blink of an eye, another 100 moves had passed. At this moment, Lin Xian suddenly used an unparalleled secret technique. His strength increased exponentially, and he directly smashed his opponent's arm with a palm. Half of his body was shattered, and a bloody mist filled the air. Everyone was stunned. Lin Xian stood in the sky, and his voice was cold. Saint Spirit bloodline? There was nothing special about it. His words were filled with disdain. Shi Qingyu had gone completely crazy. He roared, and his shattered body reassembled, and he charged over again. He was not convinced, and he must kill his opponent. However, Lin Xian's power grew stronger and stronger, and in the end he condensed the 10 extinction swords again. The sword energy swept out, and with one strike, it split Shi Qingyu apart. The 10 extinction swords contained 10 powerful laws. Under the fusion of the dragon soul's aura, the sword slashed out, and the sky fell and the earth cracked. Although Shi Qingyu was not killed this time, he was seriously injured, and his aura dropped drastically. Damn it! He quickly retreated in fear. Was Shi Qingyu going to retreat? It was too unbelievable. The primordial grotto was such a powerful expert, but now he was going to retreat. Lin Xian would not let him escape. With a wave of his hand, the 10 extinction swords were released. The 10 laws formed a divine sword that moved between heaven and earth, directly sealing the entire world. At the same time, lightning and storms appeared under his feet, causing his power to reach the extreme. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of his opponent. Boom! The man-ruler seal kept striking out. This kind of peerless ability required too much power. Ordinary saints could not use it more than a few times, but Lin Xian's divine body seemed to have endless power. This kind of peerless ability could be used continuously. Boom! 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 Heaven and earth shattered. Sure, Qingyu's body was broken once again. He was torn apart and he retreated. Lin Xian looked disdainfully at the surroundings, and he turned his head to look into the distance. At this moment, the Taiji diagram had completely enveloped the yin-yang fruit. It seemed that it was done. With a wave of his hand, the Taiji diagram rotated and quickly flew over with the yin-yang fruit. The surrounding people exclaimed. It seemed that such a treasure was going to fall into the hands of the other party. Damn it! Shi Qingyu roared. However, he had just condensed his body, and his aura was very weak, and his face was pale. Moreover, he did not have the courage to fight the other party now. However, he was really unwilling to watch the treasure be obtained by the other party. However, halfway through the Taiji diagram there was a change. A spatial crack appeared, enveloping the Taiji diagram, and then it disappeared. What was going on? Did someone make a move? Everyone looked at Shi Qingyu, thinking that it was Shi Qingyu who did it. Shi Qingyu was probably the only one who possessed such strength in this place. Shi Qingyu's face was indeed pale. Damn it, it wasn't me. He quickly explained. Lin Xian ignored him, and an extremely terrifying light burst out from his eyes. Shi Qingyu was powerful, but he was still no match for him. Moreover, that was obviously the law of space just now. Only a space-type powerhouse could do this. Therefore, he thought of someone. In the next moment, he opened his heavenly secret divine eyes, and an extremely terrifying gaze from the sky cast down. It enveloped all directions. Lin Xian flew out like a bolt of lightning. The 10 ultimate sword formations surrounded him, shattering everything. That was the law of space just now. So it should be a space-type powerhouse who made a move. Let's go and take a look. The surrounding powerhouses naturally also noticed this scene. One by one, they quickly followed. They really couldn't think of anyone who dared to be so bold. Lin Xian's speed was very fast. He even used the void escape, because he realized that the other party's spatial magic was very terrifying. In the end, he directly used the dragon-shaped sword Qi and slashed out. The entire sky was split open and cracks spread. In the void, the Taiji diagram flew out. Lin Xian struck out a terrifying dragon-shaped sword shadow, completely shattering the space around the Taiji diagram. Then he said, "Get out here. You want to snatch the treasure from me? Impossible." "Is that so? You're too confident. Do you think that you can compete with me just because you defeated a few late-stage holy venerables?" In the void, a cold voice rang out, followed by the appearance of a figure. His figure was abnormally blurry, and it seemed that he had merged with the entire world. Gu Feng, it was indeed him. Those people in the distance also came nearby. They looked at the figure in front of them and cried out in surprise. They guessed that only the people of the Gu clan had such a terrifying spatial divine ability. Chapter 4307. Lin Xian frowned. To be honest, the person in front of him was very dangerous. After all, he came from an emperor clan and cultivated the great emperor's ancient scripture. Moreover, he had grasped the spatial laws. Although the two of them didn't have any conflicts before, Lin Xian knew that he would be a powerful enemy on his path to becoming a great emperor in the future. The other party had the same idea. Therefore, the other party would make a move whenever he had the chance. Now, the other party had taken the initiative to attack him. Very well, let me see how powerful the inheritance of the Void Emperor is. Lin Xian's eyes emitted a cold aura. Facing the other party, he didn't dare to be careless. This person was even more terrifying than Shi Qingyu from before. Lin Xian's body was covered in golden flames. The terrifying sword Qi pierced through the 8 desolates, causing the surrounding people to not dare to approach. Many spatial whirlpools appeared in the void around Gu Feng and directly absorbed the aura. Then the aura was sucked into the universe. He laughed. The aura is very strong, but it's not enough to threaten me. I don't want to attack you now. So, hand over the yin-yang fruit obediently. I can spare your life. Otherwise, I'll send you on your way in advance. Is that so? Lin Xian snorted coldly. He used the man-ruler seal with his palm. His other hand held the 10 extinction swords. The 2 great divine abilities had the aura of the great dragon sword soul. He knew that to deal with the other party's spatial laws, he had to use the indestructible sword. What, you want to attack me? Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Gu Feng's eyes flashed with a cold light. In the next moment, the spatial laws on his body instantly erupted, forming a spatial storm. The entire space shook violently. Everyone felt that the whole world had frozen. What a terrifying spatial absolute art. The void split the sky. A low voice sounded. Then the surrounding sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Terrifying cracks instantly covered Lin Xian's surroundings. It wanted to banish his body to a different space. This divine ability was really terrifying. It used the power of the universe's spatial laws. Sure enough, Lin Xian felt a huge power even though he had the 9-yang divine body. This was equivalent to several worlds acting on his body, making him unable to move. Not only that, but there were even cracks on his body. It was so scary. The surrounding people were all stupefied. Was this the absolute art of space? It was really too terrifying. Someone shook his head and said, ordinary, spatial divine abilities were not so terrifying. This Gu Feng should be from the Gu clan. If that was really the case, then they were from the Emperor clan. It was someone from the 9 Li dynasty who said that. As soon as he said this, the surrounding people were even more shocked. Were they from the great Emperor clan? No wonder they were so strong. Not good. Yu Shirchia was extremely nervous. He was really worried about Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face was incomparably cold. In the next moment, he coldly snorted, and the dragon-shaped sword flew out and slashed in all directions, shattering all of the spatial cracks. Boom! He roared into the sky and punched out in all directions, shattering the surrounding void. Nothing in the sky was intact. This scene really shocked everyone. Lin Xian's body recovered, and he charged over. Boom! With a punch, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. However, the corners of Gu Feng's mouth curled up into a cold smile. It's useless. You can't hurt me at all. Sure enough, his body became dim, and he directly passed through this punch. This punch blasted into the void, causing the front to turn into chaos. As for Gu Feng's body, he appeared once again. Buzz. He could appear in the universe at any time. What can you use to kill me? Gu Feng calmly dodged the next attack. He didn't even leave his original position. Just like that, he dodged everything. The surrounding people were stunned. His spatial divine ability was already in an invincible position. Perhaps only a true Sage King could kill him. They couldn't be careless. Lin Wudi had a Sage King weapon. Once that weapon was used, it would also be a threat to Gu Feng. Someone said, "Do you think Gu Feng doesn't have it? If he was really from the great Emperor clan, he would probably have more trump cards." Discussions could be heard. Lin Xian's face was cold, as expected of the Emperor clan's inheritance. However, do you think I can't restrain you? He used his divine ability with all his strength. Then he grasped the 10 absolute swords. At the same time, he used the power of the great dragon's sword soul to the extreme. Sword Qi slashed out one after another. These sword Qi were incomparably sharp. It was like countless dragons roaring in the sky. Then they quickly charged over. Gu Feng was originally disdainful, but this time his pupils shrank. This was because he realized that even though his body had dimmed and he had entered the spatial dimension, this sword strike was still able to threaten him. Buzz! His body suddenly disappeared and appeared in another space. He was teleported. A crack appeared on his hand, and blood flowed out from it. What's going on? Is Gu Feng injured? When the surrounding people saw this scene, they were stunned. They didn't dare to believe it. He, who had the spatial divine ability, could be injured. Then, how did Lin Wuyi do it? Despicable brat. Gu Feng's face became incomparably ugly. He stared at the sword shadow. Lin Xian laughed. Why? Don't you have the spatial inheritance? Don't you have to dodge? Why did you dodge just now? Humph. Gu Feng didn't answer. The wound on his body quickly healed. Then he charged out again. Next, Gu Feng's attacks came and went like a ghost. He kept teleporting, so no one knew where he would appear in the next moment. Streaks of space mystic powers came charging over at high speed. Void finger. Endless spatial laws condensed, forming a spatial finger. It directly attacked Lin Xian. As soon as it appeared, it was already in front of Lin Xian. Its target was Lin Xian's forehead. Lin Xian raised his hand and attacked with the Manruler seal. At the same time, he used the void escape to dodge in an instant. At the place where he originally appeared, a spatial stone tablet suddenly appeared and suppressed him. Fortunately, it only injured an afterimage of him. Lin Xian kept waving. Dragon-shaped, sword Qi slashed in all directions. Gradually, the sword Qi shattered the space around them. There was no longer any space for Gu Feng to stand. Gu Feng could only attack from afar. In this way, it would be very difficult for him to hurt Lin Xian. Is this the power you were so confident about? Spatial divine arts are very strong, but it doesn't seem to have much effect on me. Lin Xian's voice was cold. Indeed, if it was anyone else, even if it was a late-stage expert of the older generation, they would have been killed long ago. But he was different. He had too many successions and trump cards in his possession. Heavenly secret divine eyes could see everything clearly. Even if the opponent was hiding in the void, he could still capture it. And the great dragon, Sword Soul, could cut through the void. It had an indestructible power. These two things were enough to contend with the other party's spatial laws. They could even suppress or injure the other party. Chapter 4308. Gu Feng's face was incomparably pale. He really didn't expect that the other party could actually restrain his spatial ability. Once he used his spatial ability, he was invincible. Who could contend against him? However, he had met his match today. Kid, very good. I'll remember you. Gu Feng snorted coldly as his body gradually disappeared into the void. Lin Xian's expression was cold. The dragon's sword spirit once again erupted, wanting to attack. It was such a good opportunity. He wanted to kill the other party. However, at this moment, an extremely terrifying aura came from afar, causing everyone to turn their heads. It seemed that something incredible had appeared again. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian didn't attack again. I'll spare you this time. He withdrew the dragon's sword spirit and then waved his hand, summoning the Taiji diagram back. There was a black and white fruit in the Taiji diagram. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. It seemed that he had to find an opportunity to absorb the power of this fruit. This way, his Taiji fist would be even stronger. Thinking of this, he wasn't in a hurry to go immediately. Instead, he flew in the opposite direction. He wanted to absorb this yin-yang fruit first. On the other side, after Gufeng left, his expression was incomparably cold. At this moment, a figure walked out and said, "Even you don't have the confidence to kill him?" This figure was Wan Jinny. He had also watched the previous battle. At this moment, his expression was incomparably heavy. Gufeng snorted coldly. This kid wasn't simple. His physique was the nine-yang divine body, and his eye technique was powerful. It was obvious that he also had a top-grade bloodline. What was more troublesome was that he was the successor of the Dragon Sword Spirit. He had the Dragon Sword Spirit that could sweep through everything and had the inextinguishable sword intent. Dragon Sword Spirit? Wan Jinny was shocked. This was a legendary item, and the other party actually had it. Moreover, it seemed that Gufeng was very familiar with it. It seemed that the two of them really came from the same world. Gufeng took a deep breath and said coldly, "Don't worry. Although he has many trump cards, I have many. This was just a probing attack. I didn't use my full strength. Otherwise, if I used my trump card, he wouldn't be able to block it. Moreover, I'll be able to cultivate the Greater Void transference to the 3rd level soon. At that time, killing him will be as easy as flipping my hand." At this point, a cold killing intent erupted from Gufeng's eyes. But no matter what, he had suffered a loss this time. He had lost to the other party. On the other side, Lin Xian left the crowd and entered the Great Sage Tower once again. He asked Yu Shirjie to guard him and keep an eye on the situation outside. He then took out the yin-yang fruit and placed it in front of him. Murong Qingqing roared, and a pagoda appeared in her hand. This was a replica of the desolate tower. At this moment, when he took it out, its power was equally terrifying. He blocked the other party's stone pagoda. Then, the jade lake rushed out and covered the surroundings, healing the injuries of these people. "Let's go." Li Hongxiu, from the Heavenly Fragrance Pavilion, was holding a huge fan. She attacked, and several of them were sent flying. Some of the late-stage Holy Venerates were instantly killed. The two sides fought again, but Lin Xian and the others fought as they retreated, retreating towards the statue. Soon, Lin Xian arrived beside the stone statue. Formation of Destruction. Lin Xian used a powerful formation that he had obtained previously. It was a formation that used formations to break formations. When he used it, it was truly terrifying. At the same time, they poured the power of their saint artifacts into the formation of destruction. The formation rotated rapidly and broke through the statue. Then, these people were enveloped by a force. "Damn it, we can't let them in." When the surrounding people saw this scene, their expressions changed. They did not expect Lin Xian to have such a method to break through the statue. These people moved out one after another, but they were still a step too late. When countless Saint King-level powers descended, Lin Xian and the others had already disappeared. "Damn it!" The people from the primordial grotto roared crazily. "Damn it! Let's attack the other stone statues." The surrounding people also turned their gazes to their surroundings. Among them, the people from the primordial grotto and the Acheron Hall joined forces and stared at one of the stone statues. The Saint King-level weapons in their hands exploded. However, the power of their attacks was reflected back at them, causing them to vomit blood non-stop. What was going on? The expressions of the surrounding people changed. Were the Saint King-level weapons not enough? These people joined forces again. This time, there were 5 Saint King-level weapons. They did not believe that they could not break through. However, the impact that these people received this time was even stronger. Damn it! These people's eyes were red. Gu Feng's expression was cold. He said, "Don't waste your energy. That kid didn't break it with brute force. He used a formation to break the formation. We have to find the key to breaking it. Otherwise, no matter how strong their power was, it would be useless in front of this mysterious stone statue." These people's expressions were extremely cold. At this moment, Chao Tiansheng walked out and looked at the few figures among them. He said, "Help me and I'll bring you in." Those people were stunned. Did Chao Tiansheng have this ability? So many Saint King level weapons couldn't do it, so they were puzzled. However, the people from the 7-star tower stood out and said, "We believe in you." They would help the Limitless sect. The others watched coldly. However, what shocked them was that Chao Tiansheng actually formed countless mysterious runes and broke the statue. Then, the group of people was also enveloped by a terrifying power and disappeared. How was this possible? What was the background of this Chao Tiansheng? These people were all crazy. Gu Feng's expression became even more ugly. Damn it, he didn't expect that after Lin Xian, another difficult opponent would appear. It wasn't that he hadn't seen Chao Tianfeng before. He also knew how powerful he was. But so what? After all, he was from a great emperor family. No matter how powerful he was, he couldn't be heaven-defying. However, he didn't expect that he had underestimated him. The other party was actually able to break it, but he couldn't do anything at the moment. There were a total of 4 statues. At this moment, 2 of them were broken. There were only 2 left. These 2 they had to go in. Therefore, these people joined forces and prepared to study it. The eyes of the others were also flickering. Not long after, more people came into the mysterious palace. This time, there were also many people who came. After they came in, they understood the previous situation. Immediately, some of their faces darkened. Among them, there were people from the 3 dragon clans. There was also a figure who looked like a fairy from the 9 heavens. It was Shen Jingqiu. She wasn't with Morong Qingchen previously, so she didn't meet him in the previous battle. Now that she came and heard the news, her expression became incomparably cold. Chapter 43:11. Shen Jingqiu was furious, but she did not attack these people immediately. Instead, she looked at the 2 stone statues. In the next moment, her eyes flickered. The mysterious woman in her mind sent her a voice transmission. There was a way to enter. Shen Jingqiu nodded and said to the people of the 3 dragon races, "Help me, and I'll bring you in." If it were anyone else, the people of the 3 dragon balls might not agree. But since it was Shen Jingqiu, they agreed. In the next moment, these people walked towards one of the statues. The surrounding people were stunned. What was going on? Could it be that these people wanted to crack it? What a joke! Although this Shen Jingqiu was also a genius, she was not outstanding among so many geniuses. How could the other party crack it? Gu Feng's face was also gloomy. He wanted to see if the other party was bluffing. After a while, suddenly everyone was stunned. They discovered that the statue in front of them also cracked and then shattered. How was that possible? These people's eyes were about to pop out. Shen Jingqiu could crack it too. They were all crazy. What was going on? Why was it that they could not crack it even when they used all their strength, but the other party could? Did they crack it? The people of the 3 dragon races were also surprised, because from the looks of the remaining people, they could tell that it would be very difficult to crack it. However, they did not expect Shen Jingqiu to succeed. At this moment, a mysterious power enveloped them, and Gu Feng's body suddenly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already beside Shen Jingqiu and the others. It seemed that he was going to use his spatial ability to follow them in. Damn it! Meng Qing and the others shouted angrily and attacked Gu Feng with their Dragon Ball lost skill. Gu Feng tore open a spatial tear and transferred all this energy to another space. Great! The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. This time he could finally enter. However, at this moment, Shen Jingqiu snorted coldly and suddenly turned around. The cosmic form behind her threw out a card. Gu Feng was originally disdainful. With his spatial ability, he was not afraid of the great dragon Sword Soul. It could not hurt him at all. However, in the next moment, his pupils constricted. The reason for that was because he sensed an extremely terrifying power. It was already able to threaten him. Therefore, he could only dodge and leave the space. In the next moment, the place where he was completely shattered. Shin Jingqiu and the others had already disappeared. What was going on? Had Gu Feng been forced back? How was this possible? The surrounding people were shocked once again. The people from the Gu clan were also shocked. Gu Feng's expression was extremely gloomy. Damn it! What kind of absolute art did this woman master? Why was it so mysterious? There was only one statue left. It seemed to be their last hope. These people were prepared to fight back with all their might. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others felt the space around them spinning. When the energy disappeared, they hurriedly defended themselves. However, when they discovered that there was no danger around them, they all heaved a sigh of relief. "Look, what's that?" Someone cried out in alarm. They looked ahead. Further ahead, there was an even more terrifying statue. It stood there like a god of war. The aura it emitted contained a desolate power that made people want to kneel down and worship it. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. What kind of place was this? "Look, there are words on the ground." Someone cried out in alarm. Lin Xian and the others looked over and saw the words, "Ancient Trial Grounds," written on the ground. Lin Xian was too shocked. He didn't expect that there would be a trial ground in this battlefield. It was too unbelievable. Linghu Chueshue frowned slightly. He said that it was possible. The ancient battlefield used to be a super sect. However, it was destroyed in the ancient battle, leaving behind this palace. Perhaps this was what the disciples of that sect used to train. This explanation was reasonable, so everyone nodded. Since that was the case, they should see what this trial was. Everyone took a deep breath and prepared to walk forward. The huge statue held a huge sword in its left hand and a treasure bottle in its right hand. At this moment, as everyone walked forward, the treasure bottle in its right hand slowly descended as if it was going to suck everyone in. It was obvious that the trial grounds were inside. "Go!" Everyone's eyes lit up. Since they were already here, how could they not go in? Therefore, they all moved and entered the treasure bottle. Lin Xian naturally went in as well. In the next moment, he felt that the people around him had disappeared. Obviously, this was a solo trial that could only be completed by himself. He appeared in a mountain range. His surroundings were very quiet. There was nothing. Lin Xian didn't know what the trial was, so he was always prepared. However, in the next moment, his pupils shrank. That was because he discovered that another figure had appeared in front of him. He was very familiar with that figure. It was himself. That figure's eyes were also filled with confidence. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. He looked as if he was looking down on the world. Lin Xian frowned. Could it be that the content of the trial was to fight with himself? He was truly surprised. That was because he had encountered countless opponents on his journey. There were even successors of great emperors, natural enemies. However, he had already walked all the way here. However, a person's greatest enemy was himself. Thus, Lin Xian really didn't know if a person could defeat him. Thinking of that, a light appeared in his eyes. What an interesting trial. In the next moment, he turned into a bolt of lightning and charged forward. He used the man ruler seal and slapped it forward. Let's see how this trial is going to turn out. The figure opposite him also used the man ruler seal. When the two attacks collided, an earth-shattering sound was immediately heard. Lin Xian was forced back. He felt his arm go numb. That attack was really powerful. He felt as if he had collided with a mountain. Was that the power of the 9-yang divine body and the man ruler seal? It was too terrifying. It was the first time he felt it. As for the figure on the other side, he also retreated. It seemed that he had received the same impact as him. It was a little interesting. It was exactly the same as him. It was really unbelievable. Lin Xian had also used the dream leaf in a battle like this before. However, the opponents that he created back then were all imaginary opponents. Moreover, he didn't make himself an opponent. Therefore, it was the first time he had seen such a scene. In the next moment, he attacked again. This time, it was the 10 ultimate sword formation. The terrifying 10 ultimate laws spread between heaven and earth. The terrifying sword chi was about to destroy everything. A formation also appeared under his opponent's feet. It was the 10 ultimate sword formation. The two of them fought again. This battle was earth-shattering. After thousands of moves, the two of them were evenly matched. Lin Xian was too shocked. His opponent knew the Man-Ruler Seal, 9 Yang Divine Body, 10 Ultimate Sword Formation, Tiger Demon Fist, and even the Heavenly Secret Divine Eyes. His opponent's strength was beyond his expectations. Even his opponent's timing and grasp of the battle were exactly the same. Chapter 40, 312. Lin Xian was not the only one. The others had also encountered such opponents, so they had been fighting each other for a long time. Defeating oneself was undoubtedly the most difficult thing. Therefore, after an unknown amount of time, these people did not succeed. However, it was not that they did not gain anything. Everyone had achieved a breakthrough in their battle with themselves. Even the use of laws and combat skills had become more powerful. These people's strength had increased. Lin Xian's side was the same. His strength had also increased. However, this was not enough. What he wanted was to defeat his opponent. Lin Xian did not use the great dragon's sword soul. He did not know if his opponent could use the same aura. However, even if he could not, he did not intend to use such a powerful force. It would not be effective at all. He wanted to use his own strength. In fact, Lin Xian did not use the Great Destruction Spear. Just like that, he attacked again. Lin Xian fought with himself millions of times. Finally, in this battle, he had broken through his limit. He injured his opponent with a single sword. That Taoist retreated. A crack appeared on his body and blood flowed out. Lin Xian's face was pale, but his eyes shone with a piercing, cold light. Great, I've finally come to this step. He had been waiting for a long time for this moment. In the next moment, he attacked again. Although that figure was injured, his strength was not bad at all. In fact, his wounds were quickly cracking. Lin Xian was already able to injure his opponent. Next, he became more and more courageous. Finally, that person was completely shattered. Lin Xian roared to the sky. He finally did it. He had broken through himself, surpassed his limit, and reached an unbelievable level. As for the shattered figure, it turned into countless strands of power that enveloped Lin Xian. Boom! In front of the huge god of war statue, figures were teleported out one after another. It was obvious that the trial had ended. As soon as these people came out, they discussed with each other and found that they were all fighting with themselves. This kind of battle was too difficult. Most of them did not succeed. However, their strength had increased, which made them very happy. Morong Qingqing came out. Linghu Chueshue, Fu Hongye, and the others also came out. However, Lin Xian still hadn't come out, which made everyone surprised. What's wrong with junior brother Lin? They were worried, and so was Morong Qingqing. In the end, they discovered that Lin Xian had walked out. The moment they came out, they felt that Lin Xian was different. Had there been a change in his cultivation? They checked carefully and discovered that Lin Xian was still a middle-stage holy venerate. However, he had a special aura. It made them feel that the Lin Xian at this moment was like a completely different person compared to when he had first entered. Older brother Xian, did you succeed? Morong Qingqing walked up and asked. Lin Xian smiled and nodded. The others sucked in a breath of cold air. The other party had succeeded. It was too inconceivable. The other party had defeated him, surpassing his limits. Even Ling Hu and the others were shocked, because this had nothing to do with their cultivation level. This was a personal breakthrough. They couldn't do it, but Lin Xian did it. At this moment, the huge statue shone brightly, and a force wrapped around them. It seemed like it was going to teleport them out. Indeed, not long after, they found that they had returned to the main hall. At this moment, there was no one around the main hall. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and he discovered that the surrounding statues were all broken. He wondered which of the other three had entered. However, at this moment, an insect came in front of Lin Xian and released a soul fluctuation. Lin Xian instantly heard a message. This message was given to him by the nine-headed Qilin. It turned out that the nine-headed Qilin and the others didn't enter the last statue. The last statue was entered by a mysterious person. They knew that they didn't have a chance, so they left. They went outside to search for the Holy King's will. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded. The second and third statues were entered by Chao Tiansheng and Xinjingqiu. The fourth statue was of a mysterious person. The nine-headed Qilin didn't recognize him, which surprised him. Who was it? Forget it. He shook his head and didn't think too much about it. Instead, he prepared to leave. Calculating the time, it was about time. It was the end. It wouldn't take long for the third stage to end. Therefore, it was better to search for more Holy King's will. After hearing this, everyone walked out. They were prepared to use the remaining time to search for Holy King's will. At the same time, two rays of light flashed across the primordial battlefield. It was Lu Yuan and Shangguan Shaoxian. The two of them didn't enter the mysterious valley previously. They were delayed as they were searching for Holy King's will. At this moment, the two of them were escaping. They had obtained Holy King's will previously, but they were discovered and chased down. At this moment, the one chasing after them was none other than Shi Qingyu, who came out from the mysterious palace. Shi Qingyu didn't get any benefits previously. He was even mocked by Lin Xian, which made him furious. Now that he saw the people from Peerless City, he naturally wanted to take revenge. If he could capture these two people, he wanted to see how Lin Xian and the others would react. Therefore, Shi Qingyu quickly attacked. Don't run. With just the two of you, you can't escape. Shi Qingyu sneered behind them. At the front, Lu Yuan and Shangguan Shaoxian's faces were extremely ugly. To be honest, Shi Qingyu's cultivation was stronger than theirs. However, if the two of them joined forces, they might be able to fight against him. However, they didn't dare to fight at all. That was because Shi Qingyu had a Holy King's weapon in his hand. This had completely surpassed their defense. They couldn't block it at all. As expected, Shi Qingyu used the stone pagoda and shot out a ray of light toward Lu Yuan and Shangguan Shaoxian. Lu Yuan roared, "Iron Horse, Ice River." The boundless ice formed a demonic beast that stood between the heavens and earth as a form of defense. On the other side, Shangguan Shaoxian also used the scroll in her hand. She shot out a mysterious mountain river painting, defending between heaven and earth. However, in an instant, the two of them were shattered. The two of them were sent flying while vomiting blood. There was nothing they could do. The Holy King's weapon was too powerful. They couldn't block it at all. Shangguan Shaoxian's face turned ugly. Lu Yuan waved his hand and took out a Holy King's will. This was the only way. He used his strength to throw the Holy King's will in the opposite direction. As for them, they quickly flew away. It seemed like they were trying to lure the other party away. Holy King's will? Shi Qingyu was also taken aback when he saw this scene. Soon after, he revealed a smile. He quickly chased after the Holy King's will. Seeing this, Lu Yuan and Shangguan Shaoxian heaved a sigh of relief. Great, it seemed like they were safe. However, in the next moment, their faces changed. The surrounding land and mountains kept changing. Countless laws were emitted from them, forming a huge barrier. It seemed like the barrier was trying to seal them. Chapter 43:13. Damn it. Their faces turned ugly. They did not expect that the other party would not let them go. Since this was the case, a cold glint appeared in Lu Yuan's eyes. He waved his hand, and the seal on the Sage King's will cracked open. Boom! The Sage King's will shone brightly, and a terrifying aura swept out in all directions. Shi Qingyu's face changed, and he used the stone pagoda to defend himself. The stone pagoda was pushed back, and the energy swept out in all directions, attracting the attention of countless people. Many people raised their heads and looked into the distance. What's that aura? It's the aura of a Sage King. Let's go and take a look. Many people flew over. At this moment, Lin Xian also sensed it. At this moment, his figure flashed, and he also rushed over. This time, there was no one beside him. After they came out, they tried their best to find the Sage King's will. Therefore, Lin Xian acted alone this time. At this moment, he sensed the Sage King's will, and his eyes lit up. He turned into a ray of light and rushed over. At the same time, many people went over. When they came close, they were stunned. They saw the people from Wushuang City and the people from the Primordial Grotto. There was also a Sage King's weapon. These people were stunned and did not dare to rush over. They could not defeat the Sage King's weapon. At this moment, Shi Qingyu's face turned cold. Kid, you dare to attack. You're going to die. He looked at Lu Yuan and Shangguan Shaoxian, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. The two of them were pale. Were they still unable to leave? Were they really going to die here today? When the others saw this, they were shocked. It seemed that the two geniuses from Wushuang City were going to be in trouble. Yes, Shi Qingyu was an expert in the later stages. He was very strong. Not to mention, he had a Sage King's weapon. No one could stop him. Everyone knew that Lu Yuan and Shangguan Shaoxian were going to die. Sure, Qingyu walked over with the stone pagoda. His killing intent quickly spread out. At this moment, a cold voice resounded throughout the world. You dare to attack the people from Wushuang City. Do you really think that I won't kill you? When this voice came out, everyone was stunned. Who was it? He actually dared to challenge Shi Qingyu. Was he tired of living? Sure, Qingyu also stopped in his tracks, and a shocking light burst out from his eyes. Who is it? Get over here and accept your death. What a joke! Who would dare to challenge him now? In the next moment, everyone saw a figure appear in the sky and land directly. His body glowed like a sun war god as he appeared in front of everyone. It was this kid. Everyone was stunned. Even Lu Yuan and Shangguan Shaoxian's pupils shrank. Lin Xian. They said, Junior brother Lin, leave quickly. This guy has a Saint King weapon. Previously, they had been searching for the Sage King's will. Therefore, they did not know about the previous battle. He did not know that Lin Xian also had a Saint King's weapon. They were very worried at the moment. Lin Xian turned around and looked at the two of them. He took out some spirit fruits and handed them to them. Then he said, Don't worry, it's just a defeated opponent. There's nothing to worry about. When these words came out, Lu Yuan and Lu Yuan were both stunned. A defeated opponent. Could it be that Shi Qingyu was defeated by Lin Xian? This was too unbelievable. In front of them, Shi Qingyu's expression also became extremely ugly. Extremely terrifying killing intent burst out from his eyes. So it's you. He looked around and realized that Lin Xian was the only one who had come. He immediately revealed a sinister smile. You really don't know what's good for you. How dare you come alone? Since that's the case, you can die. He was really too happy. This was a good opportunity for him to kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. You. I've already said that you are a defeated opponent. Without a Saint King weapon, I can kill you in 3 moves. When these words came out, the surrounding people were all stunned. Although they knew that Lin Xian had defeated Shi Qingyu, that was over 1,000 moves. It was simply impossible to defeat the opponent in 3 moves. As expected, Shi Qingyu's expression turned cold. Very well. I want to see how you can defeat me. He was really angry now. However, Lin Xian sneered. I was wrong. Previously it was 3 moves. Now I can defeat you in 1 move. That was indeed the case. Now, Lin Xian challenged him again and surpassed his limits. His strength increased again. Hence, Shi Qingyu was no match for him now. Despicable brat, don't be so arrogant. Shi Qingyu shouted angrily and charged over. At this moment, countless mysterious runes appeared on his arms. He activated his bloodline power because he knew how strong Lin Xian was. Furthermore, he wanted to use his full strength to kill Lin Xian. Hence, he did not hold back at all in this attack. A fearsome bloodline power surged forth, turning his hands into incomparably powerful warhammers. An extremely terrifying power surged out, as if 2 mountains were descending from the sky. This terrifying power caused the expressions of the surrounding people to change. Even a late-stage Holy Venerate could not block this attack. It seemed that Shi Qingyu was really angry now. Not good. Shangguan Shaoxian and the others cried out in alarm when facing such a terrifying attack. However, Lin Xian did not care at all. He still had a smile on his face. When the 2 palms arrived before him, he made his move. He formed hand seals with his palms. A terrifying aura spread out. The man-ruler seal smashed forward with a will that looked down on the world and looked down on the world. At this moment, Lin Xian seemed to have turned into a supreme god. Kill! With a furious shout, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The man-ruler seal smashed into the other party's huge palms. A destructive power swept out in all directions. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people kept retreating. Lu Yuan and Shangguan Shaoxian also quickly retreated into the distance. This power was too strong. They did not expect Lin Xian to be able to display such terrifying power. It seemed that Lin Xian's strength had increased during this period of time. It had far surpassed their imagination. After the attack, cracks appeared on the 2 terrifying palms in the sky. Then the cracks exploded and a figure retreated. The surrounding people were stunned. They discovered that the person who retreated was Shi Qingyu. How is this possible? Countless people exclaimed. Did Lin Xian really defeat Shi Qingyu in one go? Their minds went blank. They originally thought that Lin Xian was just being arrogant. Who would have thought that he really did it? Lu Yuan and Shangguan Shaoxian were also shocked. They could not believe this strength. Shi Qingyu's face turned pale. There was a look of despair in his eyes. How is this possible? Although he was defeated earlier, it was only by a small margin. However, he had lost too much now. He could not take this palm at all. Chapter 43:14. An ant will always be an ant. Do you think you can turn the tables around in my hands? Lin Xian's cold voice rang out. Shi Qingyu, on the other hand, roared. With a roar, his body recovered. At the same time, he swallowed pills like crazy. In the next moment, he charged over with the stone pagoda. Kid, I'm going to destroy your soul. The bloodline power in his body burst out again. Obviously, Shi Qingyu was going all out. The stone pagoda above his head shone with a terrifying light. A destructive aura spread out in all directions. The surrounding people also spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their expressions changed. Not good. Retreat. This guy is going crazy again. As expected, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Lu Yuan and Shangguan Shaoxian exclaimed in astonishment. Junior brother Lin, run. Although Lin Xian could defeat Shi Qingyu with a single move, it was still not comparable to a Sage King's weapon. In the face of such destructive energy, Lin Xian was like a small boat in the sea. He could be swallowed up at any time. However, he was still not afraid. So what if Shi Qingyu had a Sage King's weapon? He had one too. He took out the Great Destruction. A monstrous demonic aura spread out in all directions, blocking the terrifying energy. Do you think you can turn the tables by taking out a Sage King's weapon? You're too naive. I'll let you know that even in a battle of weapons, you're still no match for me. At this moment, Lin Xian was extremely domineering. The surrounding people also exclaimed. It was another Sage King's weapon. Even Lu Yuan and Shangguan Shaoxian were stunned. They did not expect Lin Xian to have a Sage King's weapon as well. Indeed, in the next moment, the two sides started fighting again. At this moment, everyone retreated far away, because the energy this time was many times stronger. It was not something they could withstand. They could not withstand just a little bit of energy. However, in the end, they realized that even with a Sage King's weapon, Shi Qingyu was still vomiting blood. His body had been blasted apart. In the end, he took the stone pagoda and tore open the void to escape. Don't you think it's too late to leave? Lin Xian displayed the 10 ultimate swords formation, suppressing all directions. A terrifying sword qi blocked everything. Get out of my sight, Shi Qingyu roared angrily. At the same time, he crazily bombarded the sword qi. The sword qi shattered. However, he was also blocked. And at this moment, Lin Xian once again charged over with great destruction. Not only that, but he also took out the Tai Chi diagram, which continuously shone with light. The Tai Chi diagram unleashed its law, and the law of death spread out continuously, shrouding the other party. Shi Qingyu's face immediately turned pale. This was because the law of death could take away his life force. He was so frightened that he hurriedly used the stone tower to defend himself. Lin Xian frowned. He had to admit that the stone pagoda was an extremely terrifying Saint King weapon. However, now that he thought about it, the other party should be severely injured. If possible, he really wanted to kill the other party. However, at this moment, an icy aura also appeared in the sky. Then, a few figures appeared. It's actually you. The few figures that appeared were from the great desolate mansion. As soon as they appeared, they roared and charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Are these people courting death? He immediately wielded great destruction and charged towards them. Boom! With one strike, 2 figures were instantly shattered. The surrounding people also vomited mouthfuls of blood. He was too strong and they couldn't withstand it at all. The others were shocked. What was going on? Were the people from the great, desolate mansion stupid? Why did they dare to attack directly? Did they think that they could withstand the attack of a Saint King weapon? However, in the next moment, they understood. It turned out that they were trying to attract Lin Xian's attention. This was because when Lin Xian attacked, 2 figures appeared behind him. They were emitting terrifying, killing intent. Their attacks were aimed at Lin Xian's vital points. One of the sword lights was extremely powerful. Even if it wasn't a Saint King weapon, it wasn't far from it. This was the real killer move. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. Are they from the mortal realm again? These people were still unwilling to give up. Moreover, how did these Saint Slayers get in? He was very puzzled. Every time he fought with the people from the Acheron Palace and the great, desolate mansion, there would always be people from the mortal realm. He suspected that there might be some connection between the two parties. However, he didn't have time to think about it now. The 2 killing swords instantly shrouded him. Lin Xian roared angrily and executed void escape, disappearing in an instant. At the same time, stellar transposition caused their forces to collide. The 2 swords deviated from their directions. On the other hand, Lin Xian charged out. The human ruler seal slapped towards one of them, while the other used the Tai Chi diagram. The law of death instantly made that person roar crazily. Obviously, that person's vitality was greatly depleted. The other person collided with the human ruler seal, causing an earth-shattering force to erupt. Then he was sent flying. After failing to hit their target, the 2 immediately hid in the void and tried to leave. The faces of the people from the great, desolate mansion turned extremely ugly. They still didn't succeed? This was too unbelievable. Could it be that they still couldn't kill this brat? Lin Xian's eyes emitted a terrifying radiance. A pair of heavenly secret god eyes bloomed between heaven and earth. Trying to escape? With a roar, a golden radiance shrouded the surroundings. Soon he locked onto a figure. The 10 extinction swords slashed out and instantly split the other party into two. Blood flowed out, and the energy of death exploded, turning the other party into white bones. The walking soul was destroyed. At this moment, the other person fled into the distance. It seemed like he was about to escape. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palms. The gaze of the heavenly god in the sky became even more terrifying. Under this pair of eyes, no one could escape. Indeed, the soul consciousness floated down and ignited that person's soul. That person roared in pain in the sky. In the end, his soul was destroyed. Damn it. The people from the great, desolate mansion roared. Lin Xian sneered. What? You can't hold it in anymore. Don't worry. I'll let you know what despair is. With that said, Lin Xian unleashed the soul consciousness once again and attacked the surrounding people. Instantly, the souls of 2 people from the great, desolate mansion were destroyed, and they fell from the sky. The surrounding people were frightened. The people from the great, desolate mansion were roaring, "You're courting death!" They were really angry. They quickly charged towards Lin Xian. But soon, they were sent flying by the 10 extinction swords. Although these people were powerful sages, they were nothing in front of Lin Xian at this moment. They might not even be able to block one of Lin Xian's attacks. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people frantically retreated. At the same time, a middle-aged man appeared in the sky. His expression was cold as he looked disdainfully at the surroundings. A desolate saber appeared in his hand. The aura on it was extremely terrifying. Obviously, it was a Sage King weapon. Seeing this, the people from the Great Desolation Mansion stopped what they were doing. Elder, kill him. You must kill him and avenge us. Chapter 40, 3:15. The middle-aged man said, Don't worry, he will definitely die today. The middle-aged man took a step forward and slashed down with his saber. Heaven and earth were split apart. Lin Xian sneered and used the Great Destruction Spear to block the attack. Heaven and earth trembled, but they could not break the Great Destruction Spear. Seeing this, the middle-aged man's face turned ugly. He waved his saber continuously. Lin Xian blocked all of his attacks. At the same time, Lin Xian used the Tai Chi diagram and it spun between heaven and earth. Yin and yang energy fell, and a terrifying light burned everything. The terrifying law of death took away the vitality of these people. That was the most terrifying thing. These people retreated frantically, and some of their vitality was taken away. The middle-aged man's pupils shrank. Although he looked young, to be honest, he had lived for more than 6,000 years. If his vitality was taken away, it would be difficult for him to recover. Therefore, he circled the desolate saber around him and shot out countless saber lights to block the law of death. You dare to fight me with such little strength? You must be tired of living. Lin Xian sneered, and the middle-aged man was furious. Damn it! How dare you be so reckless? He turned to Shi Qingyu and said, Let's work together. Shi Qingyu nodded and walked up as well. The stone tower above her head emitted an unparalleled radiance. The weapons of the 2 Saint Kings exploded together, and the power was extremely strong. At this moment, everyone was stunned. It's over. Lin Xian is really in danger this time. He was facing the weapons of 2 Saint Kings alone. No matter how strong he was, he would not be able to withstand it. Lu Yuan and Shangguan Xiaoxian's faces turned ugly. The advantage that he had gained was probably gone now. Facing such a dangerous situation, Lin Xian smiled. His black hair danced wildly, and he looked like a peerless god of war. Do you think you can kill me with just the 2 of you? You are too naive. Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish. Lin Xian was extremely strong at this moment, and the energy in his body kept exploding. He stared at Shi Qingyu and said coldly, I've already spared you twice, but you still don't know what's good for you. Do you really think I can hold back just because you're from the primordial grotto? With that, Lin Xian charged over. The spear of destruction pressed forward, shattering everything in its path. Shi Qingyu's pupils shrank. He didn't expect the other party's target to be him. Damn it! Attack! With a roar, the stone pagoda above Zhang Xian's head descended once more. 10,000 strands of aura bombarded the stone pagoda relentlessly. On the other side, the old man also unleashed a terrifying saber light. Lin Xian kept dodging, using the void escape to appear and disappear unpredictably, dodging these attacks. His target this time was Shi Qingyu. He wanted to get rid of one of them first. The terrifying demonic qi was unparalleled as it rushed towards Shi Qingyu. Even the power of the Desolate Blade was destroyed by Lin Xian's stellar transposition. In an instant, a great battle broke out. It was extremely terrifying. Damn it! How dare you look down on me? Shi Qingyu roared in anger as he quickly unleashed an even more terrifying attack. At the same time, the Desolate Blade unleashed its power. It was extremely sharp as it slashed around Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face turned pale from the impact. He even bled. However, he didn't care. His eyes became even colder. He continued to charge towards his opponent. At this moment, Lin Xian unleashed all of his power. He was extremely powerful. The great spear of destruction emitted the roar of a dragon and tiger. The power of the great dragon's sword soul also erupted. This attack blasted everything apart. He was sent flying. Shi Qingyu also vomited blood. The surrounding people couldn't believe it. Lin Xian also spat out a mouthful of blood. Facing the weapons of 2 sage kings alone was a heavy burden on him. However, the light in his eyes shone even brighter. Now was the time. A dragon-shaped sword qi flew out and slashed Shi Qingyu's broken body into a bloody mist. Roar! Shi Qingyu roared crazily. Save me! He summoned the stone pagoda to defend himself. On the other hand, he was pleading for help from the middle-aged man from the great desolate mansion. The middle-aged man from the great desolate mansion once again used the Desolate Blade to defend himself. However, it was too late. 10 types of laws erupted from the sword. The most terrifying one was the power of the great dragon's sword soul. It destroyed everything. As for the law of death, it completely absorbed the remaining life force. In this way, Shi Qingyu's vitality was completely gone. His soul was also destroyed. It turned into a bloody mist and ceased to exist. Is he dead? The surrounding people were all stunned. They couldn't believe it. Oh God! Shi Qingyu had a Sage King weapon. Even if he couldn't defeat Lin Xian, he should have no problem staying alive. However, he was completely destroyed by Lin Xian. Everyone couldn't believe it. The middle-aged man from the great desolate mansion also narrowed his eyes. His face turned extremely ugly. To be honest, the reason why he dared to attack was because of the Sage King weapon in his hand. However, he realized that the Sage King weapon couldn't save his life. This caused him to become incomparably terrified. He led the people from the great desolate mansion and quickly escaped. Lin Xian chased after them. Where could they escape to? He continuously used the power of destruction, causing the people in front of him to tremble and spit out blood. However, the middle-aged man didn't dare to fight back. During this time, he encountered the people from the Acheron Hall and was ready to fight back. In the end, 2 people from the Acheron Hall were killed and 3 people from the great desolate mansion were killed. This time, they didn't dare to attack again. Next, they encountered the Myriad Sword Pavilion. Similarly, they were also killed by Lin Xian. They were instantly devastated. This time, there weren't many people who came in. As a result, their losses were even more severe. Along the way, Lin Xian shook the heavens and earth. In the end, everyone knew that Lin Xian was chasing after those people. The battle ahead alerted Fu Hongye and the others. They also followed. When they found out that it was Lin Xian, they were shocked. What was going on? When they asked, they found out that Lin Xian had done such a heaven-defying thing. He single-handedly defeated those experts from the sacred city, and they didn't dare to fight back. In fact, many of them died. Their expressions became extremely strange. This was heaven-defying. They wondered how the sage kings outside would react when they found out about this. Next, the entire primordial battlefield became even more confusing. Moreover, there was a force that was spreading. Everyone knew that perhaps the time to leave was very close. Indeed, a vortex appeared in the sky and slowly appeared. It seemed that the time was up. This made everyone sigh. Although the primordial battlefield was extremely dangerous and there was a high chance of death, the benefits were also great. Not only did they have the king's heart, but they also had various treasures. They really hoped that they could stay for a while longer. Lin Xian took a deep breath when he saw this. At this moment, many people had gathered around him. He said, "Why don't we attack one last time?" Chapter 43:16. What do you want to do? Ling Hu Chuexiwe and the others asked, because there was very little time now. If they didn't find it, they would leave this place. Lin Xian said that we don't have to look for them. We'll let them come by themselves. As he spoke, he took out the Holy King's will. At the last moment, if they found a large number of Holy Kings will gather together, do you think they would come? Hearing those words, Ling Hu Chuexiwe and the others revealed smiles on their faces. Great, these people also took out the Holy King's will. Immediately, more than a dozen Holy Kings will emitted light between heaven and earth. That terrifying aura immediately attracted countless people. Heavens! It was the aura of the Holy King's will. Some people's eyes turned red again. To be honest, not everyone had obtained the Holy King's will. Originally, they were already in despair. However, at the last moment, the aura of so many Holy Kings will appeared. This made them ecstatic. If they could obtain it, then they still had a chance. In an instant, many people rushed out. Not only did they not obtain it, but those who obtained it were also jealous. It was precisely because they obtained the Holy King's will that they knew how precious it was. Therefore, they wanted to get as much as possible. Countless people gathered in this direction. In the next moment, they discovered that there were indeed more than a dozen Holy Kings will in the sky. These people's eyes turned red. However, they discovered that there were some figures below these Holy Kings will. At this moment, they were sneering. The people of Peerless City, when they saw Lin Xian, Ling Hu Chuexiwe, and the others, their scalps went numb. Could it be that this was a trap? Some people instantly retreated, not wanting to fight with the people of Peerless City. There were also some people who came, such as the people of Thunder God City and the people of Demon City. The people of Taiga Grotto and the 10,000 Sword Pavilion also came. So what if it was a trap? They had so many people. Could they not defeat the other party? In an instant, these people attacked crazily. As for Lin Xian and Ling Hu Chuexiwe, they instantly took out 2 Holy Kings' weapons and killed in all directions. At the same time, some formations appeared in the surroundings. These were all set up by Lin Xian. Not good, this is a trap. Quickly counterattack. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they roared crazily. For a moment, terrifying laws permeated the world. An unparalleled pressure spread out, causing the entire world to shake. However, this time, Lin Xian and the others were fully prepared. They instantly attacked, causing the expressions of the experts from the Holy City to change. Boom! In an instant, many people were sent flying and vomited blood. Some people even knelt on the ground, unable to resist. Run! Those people who were originally watching the battle immediately ran away. They still wanted to sit back and reap the benefits. But now, it seemed that it was impossible. It was already good enough that they could escape. The whirlpool in the sky grew bigger and bigger, and those people flew out one after another. The next moment, they felt the world spin, and when they reappeared, they were already outside. Outside, the reincarnation protector stood there with stars flickering in his eyes. The saint rulers around him all wore solemn expressions as they waited. They looked at the 6 paths reincarnation in front of them and felt the presence inside. They all took a deep breath as they knew that the people inside were about to come out. In the next moment, They saw figures flying out of the pagoda one after another. Have they finally come out? These people all looked over nervously. Although they were all saint rulers, they were also extremely nervous at this moment. After all, they were not sure how many people could successfully come out of the last round. And those who went in, it would be a huge loss if even one of them died. After all, those who could reach the third round were all extremely powerful people in the Holy City. The people from the returning Principal Palace, Giant Spirit Pavilion, and Limitless Sect led the way and flew out first. After they came out, they heaved a sigh of relief. Saint rulers. They found their respective saint rulers and quickly walked over. Those saint rulers also revealed a smile. How was it? Did you get the saint ruler's will? They asked. Those people nodded. Some people got it, and of course, some didn't. After all, the saint rulers was an extremely rare thing. The other saint rulers frowned. Why were only these people coming out? They thought that the others should still be behind. Sure enough, a few more people came out. However, after a long time, no one else came out. What was going on? The saint rulers of the 1,000-demon city and thunder god city frowned. Those who came out said, there was a big battle inside. Peerless City and the people from the Acheron Hall and Primordial Grotto were fighting. Were they fighting? No one was surprised. But soon, the saint rulers' faces changed. Those who came out said that the people from Peerless City had set up a trap to attack the people from the Primordial Grotto, Thunder God City, and Great Desolate Mansion. Not only that, but Linwoody was really too strong. He had killed too many experts. Half of the people from the Acheron Hall had died in his hands. It was the same for the Great Desolate Mansion. What? When those words came out, Saint Ruler Silver Corpse and Saint Ruler Desolate Heaven were instantly enraged. Extremely terrifying murderous intent burst out from their eyes. What was going on? A cold voice rang out between heaven and earth. Those people's scalps went numb. The saint rulers frowned as they protected their subordinates. What do you mean? Don't scare the people of the holy city. The two saint rulers also restrained their murderous intent, but they still asked, what was going on? Those who came out said, we don't know. It is impossible for us to know the specifics. We only know that a terrifying battle took place. The people from the Primordial Grotto snorted. Don't worry, our people will take care of them. His eyes were filled with incomparable confidence. Someone from the Primordial Grotto had a saint ruler weapon, but he was still killed by Linwoody. What? The surrounding saint rulers were stunned. Saint Ruler Spirit Speaker from the Primordial Grotto stiffened. He had just said that their people were strong, but they were slapped in the face. Damn it, how was that possible? Saint Ruler Spirit Speaker roared, his voice shaking the 9 heavens. Those who came out did not dare to say anything else. Some of the saint rulers looked gloomy, and many of them looked at Peerless Saint Ruler. Peerless Saint Ruler put his hands behind his back, a smile on his face. It seemed that Peerless City had achieved very good results in the Primordial Grotto. The battle inside was very intense. Another 2 people from the Acheron Hall were killed, and only 1 person was left. He quickly escaped. A few people from the Primordial Grotto had also died. Peerless City was too strong, and no one dared to fight. Hurry up and run. These people all ran away. Lin Xian and the others quickly chased after them. Light flashed in the reincarnation pagoda, and a figure suddenly appeared. It was someone from the Acheron Hall. Many people looked over. Was the battle over? It seemed that the people from the Acheron Hall had returned victorious. Chapter 40, 3:17. However, right at this moment, everyone discovered that a piercingly cold sword light streaked across the sky and directly cleaved that figure into 2. In the next moment, the body turned into a bloody mist and floated out of the pagoda. What? Was he killed? Was there someone chasing after him? The surrounding people were all stunned. The Silver Corpse, Saint King, roared in anger. Damn it! The Reincarnation Protector stretched out his hand and tried to grab the Reincarnation Protector. However, The reincarnation protector turned around and glared at him coldly. Holy King Silvercorpse's hand stopped in midair. This was the reincarnation guardian's territory, and he did not dare to act recklessly. He could only clench his teeth and retract his hand. The person who came out of the Akron Hall was killed. After that, more people came out. They were the people from the primordial grotto, the great desolate mansion, and the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. They were all injured, and their faces were ugly. The moment they came out, they shouted, "Old ancestor, kill him! Holy King, you must avenge us!" These people were shouting crazily. They were on the verge of tears. Meanwhile, those Saint Kings frowned. What was going on? Could it be that their people had suffered a loss? Holy King Silvercorpse of the Akron Hall looked even worse. That was because no one came back from his side. Damn it! How could it be? Where were the 5 people who went in? They must be behind. However, the next people to come out were Lin Xian, Linghu Chueshue, and the rest of the people from Wushuang City. Wushuang, Holy King smiled. He waved his hand and called everyone to his side. Damn it! Where were they? The Silvercorpse Saint King roared and glared at the front. Lin Xian sneered. Don't look forward to it. The 5 people from the Akron Hall have all died in there. What? The other Holy Kings were shocked too. All of them had died? To be honest, they had expected the 5 of them to die. However, only 5 people had entered the Akron Hall. Didn't that mean that all of them had died? That was too shocking. Not a single person from the Holy City could come out. Moreover, the Akron Hall was the host this time. It was a slap in the face. The people from the other holy cities did not look good either. The reason for that was because their losses were also extremely disastrous. For example, the primordial grotto's sacred king's spirit language was clenching his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. He discovered that Shi Qingyu was among the dead. One had to know that Shi Qingyu was a top-notch expert on their side. Moreover, she had even held a Saint King's weapon back then. He even joined forces with an expert from the great desolate mansion. Even 2 Saint King level weapons couldn't kill him? Like the great desolate mansion and Thunder God City, they had also suffered heavy losses. Therefore, these people gritted their teeth and looked towards Peerless City. The gazes of these Saint Kings pierced through the void, shattering the surrounding heaven and earth. Peerless Sacred King activated the law of devouring, forming a huge black vortex that engulfed the murderous intent. Then he said, "What? Are you going to fight in front of the reincarnation protectors?" "All right, Peerless Saint King, I will remember this. Do you think this matter will end so quickly? Just you wait." The eyes of these Saint Kings were filled with killing intent. However, Peerless Saint King groaned coldly. He did not care at all. So what if it was a threat? Lin Xian sneered. "What? You can't take it anymore? I've said it before. When you attacked me back then, you should have thought of the consequences." Damn it! Saint King Silvercorpse and the others gritted their teeth. They wished they could kill this despicable brat in front of them. However, they did not do so because the reincarnation protector had walked over. He said, "Since everyone has come out, I believe that some of you have obtained the Saint King's will. Very well. 1 year later, bring the Saint King's will to see me. I will bring you to the buried Emperor Star. All right, you can leave now." As the reincarnation protector's voice fell, the surrounding people took a deep breath. Was it finally the final moment? Some of the people who had obtained the Saint King's will clench their fists. 1 year later, they would be able to go to the buried Emperor Star. Let's go. Since the matter had ended, there was no point in staying here. It was better to leave. Peerless Saint King waved his hand, and the law of devouring enveloped Lin Xian and the others. Then he left. Murong Qingqing and the others also left. On the other side, the immemorial grotto, Akron Palace, and the others also soared into the sky and left. However, they did not leave the origin star. Instead, they stayed here. After all, a year was a very short time for them. "Master, where are we going?" Linghu Chueshua and the others asked after the three of them came out. Here, they were unfamiliar with the people and the place. Lin Xian said, I have a place. Let's go. Indeed, the immortal palace was still here. Lin Xian felt that it was time to go back. They walked towards the immortal palace. As for the others, after they came out, they gritted their teeth and said, Go and find out where they went. The Saint Kings gritted their teeth. It seemed like they wanted to attack immediately. At this moment, Gu Feng and the people from the Gu family came out. He said that Lin Xian had left this world. When he was in this world, he was the palace master of the immortal palace. You can go to the immortal palace to look for him. The immortal palace? The people from Acheron Palace and the Great Desolation Mansion frowned. The people from Immemorial Grotto snorted coldly. I know. Let's go. In an instant, they also left. On the other side, Wan Jianyi transmitted his voice to Gu Feng. You promised me that you would let me learn the primal chaos technique. Gu Feng's eyes flickered. He said, Don't worry. I will bring you there in 2 days. The immortal palace. At this moment, there were changes. As the power of the true spirit world recovered, the strength of the people of the immortal palace increased by leaps and bounds. For example, Peacock and the others had also become saints. Moreover, the overall strength of the immortal palace had increased. Some living fossils had even been revived. Therefore, they were still a powerful force. However, on this day, a black vortex suddenly appeared outside the immortal palace. Following that, one figure after another walked out. Immediately, the people in the immortal palace sensed it. Many elders opened their eyes. Their eyes emitted a biting cold light. How terrifying! This was the aura of a Saint King. Had a Saint King come? Although the true spirit world had recovered its power, a Saint King was still a peak existence here. It was very rare to find higher existence. It was basically impossible to find one. Perhaps the buried Emperor Star had an even more terrifying existence. Therefore, when Lin Xian and the others sensed the aura of a Saint King, it was as if they were facing a great enemy. A portion of them said, Let's go out and take a look. At the same time, he instructed them to quickly inform the old palace master. The old palace master he spoke of was naturally Xiajiao. This was the immortal palace? After the peerless Saint King and the others came out, they looked ahead and revealed a look of surprise. Since they dared to use the name Immortal Palace, it was enough to show how powerful the foundation of the sect ahead was. Chapter 43:18. Lin Xian agreed. Indeed, this was the place. He did not expect the changes to be so great. To be honest, although he was the Immortal Palace's palace master, he was only in charge of a portion of the palace's power. Most of the palace's power should still be in hibernation. Now that he was here, he realized that some of the palace's power had begun to awaken. At that moment, the formation in front of him opened up. One by one, figures flew out. They were all sages. They asked what kind of divine being had graced their immortal palace with his presence. As those figures walked out, they looked forward. Soon, they saw a handsome young man. They were stunned. He was so young. That person was the Sage King. Moreover, he realized that there were many young figures around the Sage King. Each of them was very powerful. They should be young geniuses. Unparalleled Sage King said, We are from the second astral realm, unparalleled sacred city. The elders in the second astral realm frowned. They did not seem to have much contact with the people from the second astral realm. At that moment, Lin Xian walked out and looked around. He realized that some of the elders looked unfamiliar. They must have awakened recently. Do you guys still recognize me? As soon as he said that, countless people looked at Lin Xian. Some of them were surprised, while others were shocked. It can't be, right? At that moment, another figure walked over from afar. It was a woman with 5-colored light. She exclaimed, Palace Master, is that you? As soon as she said that, everyone was stunned. Palace Master. Suddenly, someone exclaimed, That's right, it's Palace Master Lin. Palace Master Lin has returned from the ancient Star Road. That's right, it's me. Lin Xian said loudly. Suddenly, a cry of surprise sounded. Greetings, Palace Master. Peacock took the lead and bowed with her people. The others also bowed one after another. Greetings, Palace Master. Some of the elders had never seen Lin Xian before, but they knew who he was. He was the young Palace Master that they had never met. This is my senior brother, unparalleled Sage King. Lin Xian introduced him with a smile. Hearing that, the surrounding people were stunned. What? Linghu Chueshue and the others also widened their eyes in disbelief. Senior brother. To be honest, they thought that Peerless Holy King was Lin Xian's master. Who would have thought that it would be his senior brother? What was going on? The Peerless Holy King said that Lin Xian was indeed his junior brother, and he would tell them more about it when he had the time. Linghu Chueshue and the others took a deep breath. They knew that this matter was true. It would appear that they had gained another martial uncle. The group entered the Immortal Palace. The people inside the Immortal Palace also cried out in surprise. They didn't expect Lin Xian to return. They hurried in. What followed was a feast. However, at this time, the formation outside the Immortal Palace changed again. In the next moment, a yellow springs diagram appeared above their palace. Countless streams of yellow spring water surged in all directions, forming the figure of the silver corpse Holy King. Then a cold voice sounded. Was that Immortal Palace? A person who was abandoned by an immortal could actually become Immortal Palace's palace master. It truly was a mockery. Who was it? Immortal Palaces, people cried out in alarm, raising their heads towards the sky. They felt the aura of a holy king pressing down on them. Needless to say, it was also a holy king. Lin Xian and the people from Peerless City all frowned. It was the silver corpse, Holy King. This guy actually found his way here. Who are you? Hurry up and leave, or don't blame Immortal Palace for being impolite. The elders beside him also stood up and shouted coldly. So what if the other party was a holy king? If he dared to provoke their palace master, he would be making an enemy of Immortal Palace. Who cared who he was? They couldn't let him go. At this time, the void shattered and another figure appeared. It was Spirit Holy King Yen. He said coldly, Immortal Palace, do you want to go against our immemorial grotto? When these words came out, the expressions of Immortal Palace's people changed. It was actually someone from the immemorial grotto. They furrowed their brows as Lin Xian looked at the two of them and coldly said, What did you come here for? Brat, we're here for you. Spirit Holy King Yan's cold voice sounded. However, before he could finish his words, he heard an angry shout, Get out! Lin Xian said coldly, Who do you think you are? You came to Immortal Palace and obediently waited outside the array. Who allowed you to come in like this? At this moment, Lin Xian was incomparably domineering. Spirit Holy King Yan's expression immediately turned ugly. A young junior dared to shout at him. Did he want to die? His body emitted a terrifying killing intent. The silver corpse Holy King also said, Brat, do you really think we don't dare to attack you? There are no reincarnation protectors now. If you want to attack, you can try. I can guarantee that your 2 holy lands will be miserable. Peerless Holy King also stood up, emitting a terrifying killing intent. Next, Thunder God City's Holy King, Demon City's Desolate Heaven Holy King, and even Myriad Sword Frame's Ghost Deity, Holy King, all came out. Their cold gazes looked down. Although they didn't attack, their intentions were very clear. This was a threat. Obviously, Peerless City had to be extra careful. These Holy Kings figures finally disappeared into the sky. However, everyone's brows were tightly knitted. What was the palace master doing? The people from Immortal Palace were very confused. Lin Xian said these are all enemies. Send people to investigate them and keep an eye on their movements. The people from Immortal Palace nodded and began to prepare. Lin Xian said, Senior brother, let's go into seclusion first. After a year, we can go to the buried Emperor Star. At that time, even holy kings won't be able to threaten us. Let's hope so. Peerless Holy King nodded and said, You guys have just returned and experienced a series of battles. You should quickly go into seclusion and cultivate. Lin Xian and the others began to cultivate. Peerless Holy King frowned. Although there was only a year's time, would those people really not attack? It seemed like he had to prepare in advance. Lin Xian began to cultivate in seclusion. He used various treasures to recover his exhausted energy and injuries. Then he prepared to come out of seclusion. Although he had obtained many treasures, he had obtained 2 holy king wills. One of them was even cultivated by him. Therefore, he only had 1 holy king wills left. However, he wasn't worried because he had ways to get it. Therefore, he prepared to go out and meet the 9-headed Qilin. The 9-headed Qilin, as the top genius of Demon City, would definitely obtain some holy king wills this time. Therefore, he prepared to collect them. Hearing that Lin Xian was going out, the people from Immortal Palace became nervous. After all, the holy kings had just left. The killing intent had not completely dissipated. Chapter 40, 319. Lin Xian said, It was fine, he wasn't too worried. The great sage tower had returned to his hands. Even if he encountered a sage king and couldn't defeat him, he could still escape calmly by hiding in the great sage tower. Lin Xian left the Immortal Palace and returned to this world. He felt everything that was familiar, yet unfamiliar. He was deeply moved. Back then, he was known as the Central Emperor here. He and a few others were the top geniuses. He didn't know how many geniuses had appeared in this world after so many years. Lin Xian's speed was extremely fast. On this day, he arrived at a region. He discovered that there were many people gathered in front of him. Moreover, they were discussing. Clearly, something big had happened. He also walked over. His return didn't cause too much of a commotion. Because so many years had passed, he had probably become a legend. Most of the people who had seen him before had left. Therefore, these rising geniuses really didn't know him. Lin Xian came to the crowd and heard some of the discussions. It turned out that not long ago, a shocking battle had happened here. Someone had defeated the 4 symbols sacred ground saints. It caused an uproar. The 4 symbols sacred ground was an extremely powerful sacred ground that focused on close combat and physical strength. And now it was different from before. The current saints were all top geniuses. Their strength should be at the sacred venerate level. It was really shocking that such a person had been defeated. Lin Xian was also curious. He heard a name called Han Chong. He had never heard of this name before, so he didn't know who the other party was. However, there were geniuses rising every day in the true spirit world, so he wasn't surprised. However, a few days later, Lin Xian heard another piece of news. It turned out that Han Chong was going to continue challenging. This time, he was challenging the 5 elements sacred ground saints. In an instant, countless people exclaimed. Even Lin Xian was surprised. He recalled that when he had become famous all those years ago, he had challenged all the top cultivators in the world. The 5 elements sacred ground was nearby, so Lin Xian was prepared to go and take a look. He soared into the sky. At this moment, the 5 elements sacred ground's expression was solemn. They had some understanding of Han Chong, but what he knew was very limited. He only knew that the other party had defeated the holy sons of 2 holy lands and was extremely powerful. However, they had no idea who the other party was or where he came from. And now, such a mysterious young expert had come to challenge their 5 elements holy land. Would they be able to stop it? Right now, the 5 elements holy son was an extremely dazzling person. He had also reached middle stage, holy venerate, and his cultivation was very strong. Furthermore, the power of the 5 elements formed a set of armor that completely enveloped him. His confident gaze was rarely seen. Elders, don't worry. I can handle it. The elders of the 5 elements holy land also nodded. The Five Elements Saint was a genius who had suddenly grown up after the changes in heaven and earth. Moreover, they were very lucky and had consumed heavenly treasures before. Therefore, they were very confident. Under everyone's gazes, the battle had finally arrived. A figure descended from the sky. It was a man in a blue battle robe. He looked very young. However, no one dared to underestimate him at all, because he was Han Chong, who had just risen to prominence recently. On the other side, a group of people walked out from the Five Elements Sanctuary. The person in the lead was a man in Five Elements armor. He was the Five Elements Saint. His piercing gaze pierced through the void as he looked at the man in the sky. He said coldly, "Are you Han Chong?" "That's right, I am Han Chong." He descended and landed on the ground. He looked at the Five Elements Saint. "Today I challenge you. Show me your strongest technique. Don't disappoint me." "You will see," the Five Elements Saint said coldly. In the next moment, he formed a seal with his palms, and the terrifying Five Elements law gathered in his hands. A Five Elements mountain formed around him. Everyone gasped. The Five Elements Saint was indeed extraordinary. That was for sure. Now that he could become a saint, he must be a top-notch genius. Discussions broke out one after another. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes as well. The laws of the Five Elements. He knew them as well. He could tell that the other party was indeed very powerful, and his attainments in the Five Elements law were very deep. He didn't know what kind of ultimate technique this Han Chong was using. He was very curious about it. Han Chong felt the Five Elements' power between heaven and earth, and it quickly spread out and charged towards him. The corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. "Very good. You are worthy of my attack." In the next moment he roared, and his gaze pierced through the void like a divine arrow. There was an extremely terrifying power in his body that exploded and swept out in all directions. This power made many people suck in a breath of cold air. The eyes of the Five Elements Sanctuary's experts also shrank. He was too powerful. Who was the other party? They were very nervous now. Lin Xian let out a cry of surprise as well. This person was so strong. He was truly stunned. Although the Five Elements Saint was powerful, Lin Xian was not concerned. After all, he had fought all the way on the ancient road of the starry sky and returned with a strong momentum. His strength had long surpassed everything. However, the power that exploded from Han Chong's body shocked him. He felt that Han Chong would be able to walk to the end even if he was placed in the Tao debate. Such a person had appeared out of nowhere. Who exactly was he? When the Five Elements Saint sensed the terrifying power coming from the other party, he roared furiously. He did not dare to be careless. Five Elements palm. He took out an extremely powerful technique as soon as he attacked. The laws revolved around his fingers as he slapped forward. Ice blade. The laws of ice in Han Chong's hand condensed into a long blue blade, and he slashed it down. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Countless voids were completely shattered by this slash. In the next moment, the two techniques collided. Then, an extremely powerful force exploded. Not good. Run. The surrounding people who were watching the battle frantically retreated because they realized that the arrays that they had set up around them were all shattered. At this moment, many people were sent flying. Lin Xian's figure flickered and retreated into the distance. A golden light appeared in his eyes as he looked forward. His heavenly secret divine eyes saw through everything. Then he revealed a look of surprise. The other people also retreated to the back and watched nervously. How was it? They did not expect the two of them to use such powerful techniques as soon as they came up. The laws in front of them gradually disappeared, and everyone's eyes widened. They were stunned because they saw a figure standing proudly in front of them. It was Han Chong. The Five Elements Saint's armor was already shattered, and one of his arms was hanging down with blood flowing out. It was obvious that the Five Elements Saint had been defeated in the previous attack. It can't be right. Another holy son has been defeated. The surrounding people were shocked. The people from the 5 elements sacred land also had ugly expressions. The 5 elements saint's face was pale. He had not expected that he could not even block a single attack. However, this time, Han Chong did not leave immediately like before. Instead, he continued to look forward. There was an even colder light in his eyes. Chapter 40, 320. Why? Do you still want to continue fighting? The people from the 5 elements Holy Land looked extremely cold. The other party was going too far. The surrounding spectators were also in an uproar. Because before, Han Chong had defeated 2 saints and left immediately after battle. But they didn't expect it to be different this time. They didn't know what the other party was thinking. In the crowd, Lin Xian looked at this scene and was also surprised. That attack just now was so terrifying. Obviously, the other party should have used an extremely powerful divine ability. He was getting more and more interested in this person. And soon he was stunned, and a cold light appeared in his eyes. Han Chong said indifferently, I heard that 2 people from the 5 elements Holy Land came to participate in the Tao discussion. Let them come out, I want to fight with them. What was the Tao discussion of the sage heavens? All the spectators were stunned. They didn't know anything about it. However, Lin Xian's pupils shrank. Others didn't know, but he knew because he came back to participate in the Tao discussion. But it shouldn't be. This news should only be known by a small number of people. How did the other party know? And was there anyone in the 5 elements Holy Land? The people from the 5 elements Holy Land were also cold. Indeed, 2 people had come recently. They were experts from the distant starry sky, and they didn't dare to be negligent. They just didn't expect that Han Chong would want to see these 2 people now. Just as they were thinking, 2 figures walked out from the 5 elements Holy Land. They were an old man and a young man. As soon as they came out, they attracted the attention of countless people. Who were these 2 people? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. It was them. These 2 people from the 7 Stars Tower had successfully passed the 3rd round of the assessment. He didn't expect these 2 people to be in the 5 elements Holy Land. But after thinking about it, he understood. Those who could come to the Tao discussion were the top geniuses and experts of the 2nd astral realm. Such people would definitely visit these Holy Land one by one. After all, planet Xiuan was one of the 2 most important stars in the starry sky. These people wouldn't miss it. In fact, he was thinking about the same thing. After the 2 people came out, they asked, Are you looking for us? They stared at Han Chong and frowned. They had also been watching the battle earlier, but they had been hiding in the shadows. They hadn't expected Han Chong to be so powerful. Moreover, after he won, he would challenge them. That's right, I'm looking for you. Come over here. Han Chong's gaze became piercingly cold once again, and an endless amount of ice appeared around him. Everyone felt as if their bodies were about to be frozen. What a terrifying power of ice! The old man from the 7-star tower was stunned. Then he looked at the person beside him. Xinghe, go and fight with him. Xinghe nodded and walked forward. He was someone who had participated in the Tao discussion of the holy heavens and had successfully made it to the 3rd stage. His strength was definitely beyond everyone's imagination. Sure enough, the surrounding spectators were still wondering who the other party was. However, when they sensed the terrifying aura emitted from Xinghe's body, they all cried out in alarm. So strong! This person's aura was even stronger than the 5 element saints. Just who was he? Han Chong's lips curled up in a smile. Now, that's interesting. I hope you won't disappoint me. Then he used the ice blade again. With one slash, the sky fell and the earth cracked. The shattered area was instantly frozen. The surrounding spectators cried out in alarm once again. This move had defeated the 5 elements saint previously. When the 5 elements saint saw this move again, his face turned cold. Would Xinghe be able to block it? That was everyone's doubt. Lin Xian's eyes also emitted a piercingly cold radiance. When Xinghe saw this, he formed a seal with his palms. 7 stars appeared on his body, forming a set of starry battle armor. Then a starry sky map formed in his palms, and he slapped it forward. An incomparably vast power spread out in all directions. This attack was even more powerful than the 5 elements palm print from before. In fact, it was not weaker than the ice blade. Sure enough, when the 2 superpowers collided, they both disappeared. He had actually blocked Han Chang's attack. He was really too strong. The surrounding spectators were stunned. Then they became excited. They thought that this would be a fierce battle. Xinghe also heaved a sigh of relief after blocking the other party's attack. It seemed that the other party was not undefeatable. Thinking of this, the corners of his mouth curled up into a confident smile. His body swayed, and he quickly charged out. A 7 stars sword appeared in his hand. This was not a sacred weapon, but a superpower. It was the 7 stars tower's ultimate superpower. The sword light, formed by the power of the stars, was so powerful that it carried the power of the universe. When the sword slashed out, it was as if the universe had fallen directly. Countless people exclaimed in surprise. This sword was so powerful. Facing such a terrifying attack, Han Chong did not move at all. It seemed that he had no intention of dodging. Everyone was shocked. Was he going to take it head-on? They wondered what kind of superpower it was. Because, all along, Han Chong had only used the ice blade to end the battle. Now, it seemed that the other party had used another ultimate skill. Sure enough, the other party formed a seal with his palms, and a low voice sounded between heaven and earth. Chilly winter, thousand snowfall. As soon as this voice sounded, the terrifying power of ice and snow quickly spread out. Everyone felt that they were frozen again. This thousand snowfall directly swept out in all directions. The entire world was completely frozen. Everyone widened their eyes in disbelief. They could only pray that this battle would end quickly. So powerful. Lin Xian was shocked. He also felt the power of the ice and snow. He also could not believe it. This ice and snow was a threat to his divine body. The light on his body bloomed and blocked the ice. At the same time, he looked in front of him. In the next moment, he was stunned again. Not long after, the ice and snow in the sky disappeared. At the same time, 2 figures appeared. Han Chong was still standing there with his hands behind his back. On the other hand, Xinghe's face was pale. The 7 stars sword that he had formed had disappeared. Not only that, but a layer of frost had also appeared on his body. It was obvious that he was at a disadvantage in the previous attack. Xinghe raised his head with difficulty, and his face became serious. He said, "You won this battle." As soon as this was said, the surrounding people were shocked. Could it be? Now they could see that Xinghe was more powerful than the 5 element saint. Moreover, he could survive in the 1,000 snowfall. Although his face was pale, it seemed that he was not seriously injured. Such a person could definitely continue to fight. But why did he admit defeat directly? One should know that the more powerful a genius was, the more difficult it was for him to admit defeat. For a moment, everyone was discussing. Chapter 40, 3:21. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he watched. The others might not know, but he could see. With his eye technique, he could see that there was a layer of frost on the other party's body. It should be an internal injury. Han Chong's law of ice was really powerful. Han Chong retracted the law of ice. Then he muttered to himself, "Who should I look for next?" It seemed like the participants of the Tao discussion weren't that great. The others were shocked. He was too arrogant. He didn't even put the geniuses of the world in his eyes. However, the other party was really strong. Ordinary chosen would find it hard to suppress him. Who else could it be? The people started to discuss. Xinghe's face turned ugly. He was also a top-notch genius, but he was being looked down upon at this moment. Don't be arrogant. I'm not the strongest in the Tao discussion. There are some who can definitely defeat you. Oh, is that so? Han Chong turned around and asked, "Who do you think they are?" The others were also stunned. They were also very curious. There are too many. I'll just say 2 young ones. Gu Feng from the Gu family is an emperor clan. He's an expert with the law of space. Can you fight against him? The Gu family. When these words were spoken, the surrounding people also cried out in alarm. They also knew that this was an emperor clan. The other party's law of space was really mysterious. The Gu family? Han Chong narrowed his eyes. Then he asked again, "Who was the second person?" Xinghe gritted his teeth and said, "The second person was called Lin Wudi. He was even stronger." "Lin Wudi? Who is this person?" Countless people exclaimed. "Is he stronger than the Gu family?" He dared to use the word Wudi as a title. "Isn't he too arrogant?" Han Chong also frowned. Lin Wudi was really arrogant. "Where is the person you're talking about? I'm very interested in him." "How would I know? But he's definitely in this world. Whether you can find him or not depends on your luck. However, I advise you not to look for him because you'll lose miserably. You don't have to worry about that." After saying that, Han Chong turned into a ray of light and disappeared from the world. "Did he leave?" the surrounding people exclaimed. They didn't know who he was going to challenge next. "I'm guessing that he'll be able to sweep his way through. Those holy sons of the Holy Lands will probably have to accept his challenge." "That's right. I wonder what happened to the 2 people he mentioned and whether they can be found." When Xinghe heard these words, he shook his head. He did not expect that there would be such a mysterious expert. He prepared to return and recuperate. This was because he had indeed suffered internal injuries. But at this moment he was taken aback because he saw a figure disappear from the crowd as well. "It's him." Xinghe was really shocked. Although he only saw the back of the person, Xinghe recognized who it was. Lin Wudi was here as well. Was the other party really here to watch the battle? He wondered if Lin Wudi would do anything to Han Chong. Lin Xian had no intention of attacking Han Chong. The most important thing now was to find the 9 Qilins. Finally, they arrived at the agreed-upon location. The 9-headed Qilin also came and took out a treasure box. There were 3 pills inside, and the Saint King had one. "Very good." Lin Xian satisfactorily accepted it and said, "You can go back for now. If there's anything else, I'll tell you." "Yes." The 9-headed Qilin respectfully left. Lin Xian was very happy. Including the one in his hand, he now had 4 Saint King wills. After giving one to Samsara Protector, he could go to the buried Emperor Star. As for the remaining ones, he could cultivate and absorb them himself. He was not in a hurry to go back. He prepared to go to the Jade Lake. The Jade Lake was very lively at this moment. After all, the people of the Kunlun Pavilion were here. Lin Xian's arrival made Morong Qingqing very happy. The people of the Jade Lake also came out to welcome him. They knew that this was the palace master of the Immortal Palace, the peerless genius of the Central Emperor Star. Lin Xian greeted the elders of the Kunlun Pavilion and then left with Morong Qingqing. They were taking a stroll near the Jade Lake. Lin Xian asked, "Did the Jade Lake face any challenges recently?" Morong Qingqing shook his head. Then he was surprised. Lin Xian said, "When I came, I saw a mysterious expert who continuously challenged the Holy Lands and was very strong. Often, he could defeat a saint in one move. The saint, a young genius from the 7-star tower, had been injured by the other party in 2 moves. Is he so powerful?" Morong Qingqing was also surprised. "Do you know where he came from? Is he a new rising star in the true spirit world?" "I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it." Lin Xian said that he knew about the Holy Heavens Tao debate. If he comes to challenge the Jade Lake, tell the people of the Jade Lake to be careful. Morong Qingqing nodded. "I know. I'll send someone to investigate." Soon, someone sent news. Indeed, there was a person called Han Chong who rarely came to the Jade Lake. However, he had not challenged the Jade Lake yet. Who was this person? Morong Qingqing decided to ask. He brought Lin Xian to see the Jade Lake Sacred Master. The Jade Lake Sacred Master was a middle-aged woman. After the great changes in the world, her strength had also broken through to the Sage Realm. Moreover, some of the Jade Lake's foundations and living fossils had also started to awaken. It could be said that their foundations were very strong. When Murong Qingqing asked, the Jade Lake Sacred Master's eyes flickered. She said, "We've also heard about this matter. I've analyzed it with the other Grand Elders, and we think that he might be from a place where." Lin Xian was also surprised. Could he be from the second astral realm? The second astral realm was incomparably vast. There might be some hidden geniuses who did not participate in the Tao debate and came here instead. However, the Jade Lake Sacred Master shook her head. Lin Gongzi is not from the second astral realm. We think that he might be from the heavenly abode. Heavenly abode. Murong Qingqing frowned, but Lin Xian's pupils shrank. This was not the first time he had heard of this name. He had met the people from the heavenly abode before. They were very arrogant. However, their strength and abilities were very strong. Lin Xian had been very curious about the heavenly abode. Now, he had met the people from the heavenly abode again. He hurriedly asked, "Senior, what is the origin of this heavenly abode? Which starry sky is it in?" The Jade Lake Sacred Master said that the heavenly abode was in the buried Emperor Star. He should be someone from the hidden Emperor Star. What? The buried Emperor Star? Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing sucked in a breath of cold air. That was their ultimate goal. They had not expected that someone from that world would come here directly. No wonder this guy was so strong. If he came from the buried Emperor Star, then it could be explained. Because there were two special stars in the universe. Besides their primordial star, there was the buried Emperor Star. Primordial star was still recovering. As for the buried Emperor Star, it was most likely a holy land for martial cultivators. The strength of that place was definitely unimaginable. However, what surprised Lin Xian was that the people from the buried Emperor Star could come here so easily.